Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto turns into a nine-tailed fox kid. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Brown Phantom and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. A surprise attack with a surprising result. Four shinobi of 18 years of age were heading towards Konoha from AIM. One wore an orange with black jumpsuit and had blonde hair and whisker marks on his face. Another wore a tan jacket, had brown hair with one red streak on each cheek under his eyes, and was riding a dog. Another wore a dark green jacket with a high collar and hood up to hide most distinguishing features, except for his sunglasses. The last was the only female in the group and she wore a lavender jacket and had long black hair with a bluish tint and pale eyes with a lavender tint. The only common feature between them all was the Konoha hit I-8 they all sported in their preferred ways. They were Team 8 accompanied by Konoha's latest and greatest hero, Naruto Uzumaki. He had been the village's hero since day one, literally, although for the better part of his life, he was an unsung hero regarded as a villain. He had warmed his way into several people's hearts by the time he was 13 and even more by the time he was 16. One of the things that had helped him the most was when he saved the people of Konoha from pain of the Akatsuki. The entire town had cheered for him when he returned, almost everyone dropping their prejudices against him. The downside was that everyone had found out his dirty little secret involving the Kyuubi, but those that knew him still respected him. One person was quoted as saying that if he was the fox, then obviously the demon wasn't demonic in the first place. Even so, everyone said he wasn't really the fox, and now the older generation finally started to agree. Sadly, not everyone had a change of heart in that one instance, particularly the seniors on the council. But even they had their opinions changed on an occasion not too long ago. When Danzo made Hokage, he had no intention of having it be a filler position until Tsunade recovered. He gave most of the missions to his root, had the other ninjas work on reconstruction, and tried to corrupt the other Kages into giving him power over the other nations. He might have succeeded even had the Akatsuki not shown up and one guard caught onto his Sharingan usage. When he got back to Konoha after a battle with rogue nin Sasuke Uchiha, he feared he had to take a preemptive measure to keep his position, meaning he chose to kill Tsunade in her sleep. Too bad for him, Naruto and Shizune caught him and fought him off, which was easy since the old warhawk was out of top shape and tired from the previous fight. They incapacitated him and he was put on trial. Luckily, one of Shizune's toxins was an extra strong truth serum, so Danzo was forced to confess, thus losing all support from the other council members. He was executed and other root members were reprogrammed by Ibiki and Inoichi in time. Tsunade woke up and was Regiv in her position after she reapplied her younger look. Her first act was to give Naruto a field promotion to Chunin. By now even the old fossils once on the council decided to give Naruto a chance, albeit grudgingly. And with former root members, Sai included, still under surveillance, all the other ninjas got back on duty. Sakura stayed in town most of the time to heal others until Tsunade was 100% again, so Naruto teamed up with other teams like he did when Sasuke left. At the moment he was with Team 8 since Kurenai had yet to retake mission work even after having her son. That and everyone wanted to give him and Hinata more time together after her little confession. Including themselves. Flashback to shortly after Pain battle. "Hi Hinata, can I talk with you for a bit?" Naruto greeted her at the remains of the Hyuga compound the day after he came back from seeking the Raikage. Hinata blushed, knowing exactly what he wanted to discuss. She looked to her father, who nodded his approval, then went back to supervising the reconstruction of the estate. She turned back to the whiskered blonde. Sure, Naruto-kun." The two walked away to one of the forests around the city outside what was left of the walls. They sat down on a log that was near a creek with lots of wildflowers. "So what's on your mind, Naruto-kun?" Naruto looked up at the clouds and some passing birds. "Well, I was thinking about what you said to me earlier." Out of the corner of his eye he saw her blush deepen and she began fiddling with her fingers. "Is that really what you think of me?" She could tell in his voice he was curious and maybe even a little hopeful. "Why yes, it is, Naruto-kun. I meant it, I love you. Is that a pee problem for you?" Naruto placed his hand over hers, making her gasp lightly. "No, not at all, Hinata-chan. I'm just surprised that a girl like you could even like someone like me as more than just an occasional teammate." "Why wouldn't I?" Hinata asked. "Is it because of, well, the Kyuubi? I don't mind. You're too nice and caring to be a demon. And even if you were a demon, then I should be ashamed of myself for being a human." This surprised Naruto greatly. "Really? But demons are dangerous and evil. And humans aren't," Hinata countered. "People can be monsters too, especially if they hated you for holding the Kyuubi captive. You're the most humane and admirable person I know, and I love you for it. Even if you don't feel the same. Hinata was cut off by Naruto wiping off a tear she didn't know she had shed. Hinata-chan, thank you. This means a lot to me. I wish I could say it back, but I never thought you would accept me that way. Naruto told her, and she felt her heart crack a little, ready to break completely. But I am willing to give us a chance, if you would like. Her eyes widened and her heart soared at this. Naruto then gave her a warm grin. So what do you say? Her hug was his answer. Then flashback. Since then the two had been a couple. Kiba and Shino had supported their teammate and helped give her advice on how to appeal to Naruto more. Shizune, Ino, and Sakura, who was a little upset since she began realizing how much Naruto meant to her, also tried to teach Naruto how to please a woman romantically. Kurenai helped out a little there too, since Hinata was like a daughter to her. Neji helped them both out since Hinata was his relative and he felt he owed Naruto for opening his eyes years ago. They had enjoyed their relationship greatly for the past 2 years. The Hyuga clan wasn't preventing Hinata from being with him and Naruto didn't have anybody trying to stop him either. But the only thing that was an obstacle were the few remaining Akatsuki members. The Black Zetsu had been vanquished about a year ago when Naruto and Team 10 paired up with the Sand siblings at the border of Wind Country. It took everything they had to finish off the freaky Gemini flight trap, but they succeeded. And strangely, after that all the produced white Zetsus withered and died within hours after that, like their lives were connected to the Black Zetsu. Kisame was killed in Land of Lightning with several Kumo-nin and Naruto as witnesses to confirm the details. So now all that was left was Tobi and the still missing Sasuke. As long as the Akatsuki were still out there and hunting the last Jinchuriki, Naruto and Hinata couldn't advance their relationship. Naruto felt that if they did that and he were to be captured and killed, it would destroy Hinata and she would die shortly after. Once the group of missing nins was gone completely, then maybe they could go further. Hinata understood his reasons and went with them, but found herself getting antsy as time went on and wanting to take the risk. Unknown to her, Naruto felt that way too. While the two were running through the trees into Land of Fire, Kiba and Akamaru smelled something they didn't like. We should stop here for a moment. He quietly told everyone as they came to a stop in the branches. What's wrong? Naruto asked. Akamaru looked left and right trying to get a better lock on the scent. Kiba checked above and behind them. Not sure, but I think we've got company. With that, Shino got his insects ready to swarm, Hinata got her Byakugan active, and Naruto created 2 shadow clones, and they took a triangular position with him to look everywhere, each armed with a kunai. Hinata saw something spinning really fast like a shuriken fly into view from the west right towards them, slicing through the trees with ease. Everyone jump now. Hinata warned them. They obeyed and all 4 avoided being cut. They landed on the ground and looked westward. They saw a tall man wearing a Kiri Hitai with a metal plate right above the right ear. His hair was yellow and cut short with a long thin braid that almost looked like a rat tail. He wore a dark gray tank top with earth brown armor pads on his shoulders and a similar colored glove on his right hand. He also wore loose camouflage patterned pants that were dull blue rather than green with steel gray army boots. One of the most disturbing features was that there were scars carved onto his left forearm that looked like the symbols for Kiri, Kumo, Kusa and Taki from top to bottom. The spinning weapon turned and returned to him and he caught it in his gloved hand. The weapon turned out to be a one-sided sword with the blade bent at an obtuse angle, making the sword look like a boomerang. Judging from the fact that it returned to him showed it acted like one too. He smirked a fiendish grin. Well, looks like I can add Konoha's symbol to my collection. Any idea who this is? Kiba asked as he got off Akamaru and readied a food pill. Sorry, I do not. Shino replied. Haste this. Harado. The newcomer shouted and swung his sword. It flew at them like a shuriken again. The Konoha-nin easily dodged it by jumping away. At that moment the newcomer made the tiger sign. Rai. The boomerang sword instantly shot off bolts of lightning in all directions for a moment as it swung. Shino, Kiba and Akamaru were behind some trees so they were missed and Hinata managed to briefly make a rotation to shield herself. Both of Naruto's clones took the full force of the voltage and disappeared. The sword then cut through another tree and returned to its owner. Damn. Well, no fun if the kill was easy. Don't get too excited, pal. Naruto commented as he threw some shuriken at the swordsman, who deflected them with ease. He slashed at the orange-clad ninja and hit, only for him to vanish in a puff of smoke. From behind him the real Naruto was creating a Rasengan with another shadow clone and pounced at him. The Kiri swordsman swung his sword without throwing it and struck them both in the stomach. The clone vanished, but Naruto felt a gash on his abdomen and yelled. Hinata screamed at seeing her boyfriend injured and rushed to his side. Kiba and Akamaru did their beast mimicry jutsu and attacked with fang over fang. The swordsman jumped and blocked their assault with his sword. A swarm of Shino's bugs flew at him and he sliced at them, but it did no damage. The chakra-eating insects landed on him and did their job. The swordsman tried batting them off, but they clung on tightly and more joined them. Kiba and Akamaru got ready to attack again. Then from out of nowhere a few smoke bombs landed at the swordsman's feet and smoke appeared. When it cleared, the swordsman was gone and Shino's bugs were on the ground, twitching but alive. Where'd he go? How'd he leave so quickly? Kiba asked as he looked around the area, finding no trace of the enemy's scent. Shino was silent as he went over to his downed swarm and gently scooped them up. Perhaps he had assistance somewhere. Better check with the Hokage and see if he's listed, Kiba suggested. Shino nodded. Everything okay, Hinata? They looked over towards Naruto where he was gripping his bleeding stomach. Hinata opened his orange jacket and pulled up his black shirt. The wound looked pretty bad but not fatal and cut right across the now visible seal. Hinata reached into her bag for her healing balm and had just grabbed it when Naruto yelled again and the seal glowed a soft red. Teammates' eyes widened when they saw the seal pulse, then shrink and vanish, then red chakra leak out of Naruto's wound, healing it in the meantime. Oh no. This could be bad, Kiba stated, a little worried. The red chakra left Naruto's body and condensed in a ball whose diameter was roughly the size of a large microwave at least. It then started taking on a humanoid shape, curled up in a fetal position. Within the chakra one could see a small skeleton start to form, one the size of a small child. But what caught everyone's attention the most, even Naruto's now, was that this skeleton had 9 tails coming out of the pelvis. Oh crap. I think the Kyuubi's been released, Kiba said, now a little more than worried. But it's so small. Hinata added, expecting something bigger than this in such a scenario. Muscles and veins started forming on the bones, giving it an even more humane appearance rather than vulpine. Then skin and red hair appeared, making the thing of interest look like a young red-headed girl with 9 red fox tails and 2 red fox ears, both features tipped black. She had no clothes on, so Hinata took Naruto's jacket and covered the young girl. She sniffed and her eyes twitched open. Her eyes were the same blue as Naruto's. She sat up and looked over them all, her expression one of innocent curiosity, until she saw Naruto. Then her tails wagged and she smiled, throwing herself into his lap. Otu-san. Chapter 2. The mystery of the red-haired, 9-tailed girl. Everyone present was shocked silent as the new child suddenly referred to Naruto as her father. Shino actually moved his sunglasses down a little to get a better look at the scene. Kiba and Hinata had no idea what to do and Naruto was even more clueless. Akamaru got in closer and sniffed the girl and one of her tails playfully batted his nose, making him moan in irritation. Kiba decided to check out the girl's scent too, but he did so from a distance. Naruto, that girl may look somewhat human, but her scent is all fox. Akamaru barked in agreement. The 9-tailed child then looked over the members of Team 8 curiously. She also appeared to be sniffing them out as well. Everyone was anxious and maybe even a little fearful to see her reaction to them, but she just sat there in Naruto's lap, waiting. Naruto couldn't hold in his question anymore. Why did you just call me Otu-san? She looked up towards him. What else would I call my daddy? This was probably the first time in history that Naruto had a deeper blush than Hinata. Little girl, what is your name? Shino inquired, putting his sunglasses in their proper position. The young girl's eyes pointed upwards for a moment. I don't remember. What is my name, Otu-san? Well, we just call you Kyuubi. You don't really have a name outside of that as far as we know. Okay, but can I have a real name soon? She asked in a cute way only kids could do and get away with. So, Kyuubi, what's the last thing you remember? Shino inquired again, being the most rational of them all at the moment. Kyuubi's eyes pointed upwards again for a little longer this time. I can remember well being in some kind of cage and seeing Otu-san sometimes. I can't remember what we did or how he got me out though. I also remember some city in a forest that seems really familiar. And I remember these evil-looking red eyes on some old guy. That's about it. Nobody said anything, then she continued. You all seem really familiar to me. Have we met before? Kiba and Hinata shook their heads. Nope, but we're good friends of well your father I guess. Kiba struggled to tell her, not sure how to best phrase it. So you're pack? Kyuubi asked. In a way. Kiba answered, now more confident in what he could say to her. We're not family, but yes, we're pack. He saw the confused look on Naruto's face. I'll explain later. He didn't have to explain anything to Hinata and Shino since they were already familiar with the Inuzuka way of thinking. Is there anything to eat? Kyuubi asked, looking and sniffing around. In a moment. Hinata told her as they started setting up for dinner. Kiba used a fire jutsu to light a campfire and Shino looked for edible plants. Naruto and Kiba looked through their provisions to see what would be their main course. Naruto pulled out some ramen containers and Hinata filled a small pot with a water jutsu and set it to boil. Hinata then readjusted and zipped up Naruto's jacket so Kyuubi wouldn't be so exposed to them all or too uncomfortable in it. Kiba pulled out some beef jerky and ration bars and Kyuubi started drooling at the scent of them. He handed her a piece of jerky and she eagerly tore at it. Shino found some edible grasses and mushrooms and roasted them while the ramen cooked. Everyone munched on some jerky and rations in the meantime. They had some entertainment too when Kyuubi tried fighting Akamaru for one of his doggy treats. Naruto stopped her and she caved in, making a low growl. Kiba recognized it as canine speech for sorry alpha male. Kid will be good. Hey Naruto, looks like she knows the canine language. Kiba commented. But, she's a fox not a dog. Kiba groaned. Foxes are part of the overall canine family Baka. Foxes, dogs, wolves, they're all connected and they all speak the same language. And you can understand it? Naruto asked. Did you think I was just pretending to talk with Akamaru? Kiba asked back, a little annoyed. All in Izuka can understand the canine language and, to a point, speak it ourselves. He and Naruto noticed the curious look Kyuubi gave him. She made a short growl. What did she say? Naruto asked. Akmale. Kiba answered. He responded in a low growl of his own that meant pup, which was more natural for him than kit while difficult for most humans to speak. There were key phrases of canine speech that humans could properly mimic if they knew what they were saying that is. Kyuubi smiled and her tails wagged and Kiba gave a friendly grin back to make her feel comfortable. She's trying to bond with us by acknowledging us as a group she can fit into. It's standard behavior among young ones. Kyuubi made the pack male sound at Shino, who merely patted her head in response. Then Kyuubi called Hinata pack female, which earned her another pat. She didn't have to refer to Naruto as anything, since she had already claimed him as the alpha male and father figure. While everyone was less wary being around her, they were still curious as to why the much-feared Kyuubi would be like this. It made no sense to them. Dinner finished shortly and they all started eating. They got a little more entertainment when Kyuubi ate almost all the ramen before Naruto could. The surprised look on his face made them all laugh a little, except for Shino who just smirked under his high collar. He gave her an irritated glare and she meekly offered him the last cup. All members of Team 8 wondered if having her sealed in him was the reason Naruto was such a ramen fanatic or if it was the other way around. When the mushrooms were ready to be eaten, Kyuubi didn't touch any until Naruto actually handed her one. He figured she probably thought she needed his permission now. We probably shouldn't stay here much longer. No telling when that man could return, if at all. Shino told them. They all nodded. Are we going home, Otu-san? Kyuubi asked. Naruto paled at hearing this. He knew he couldn't just leave the girl. Even if she was the greatest demon known to man, right now she was a child. And Naruto knew full well what could happen if a child was abandoned for something like fear of what it might be. But still, how would anyone in Konoha handle this? He calmed himself and looked down at her, still in his lap. Actually, Kyuubi-chan, me and the others have to talk about something important, in private. Everyone caught his use of the chan suffix. Please don't leave me alone, Otu-san. I don't want to be alone now. She pleaded. Well, this should help you. Naruto said as he made the cross sign and created a shadow clone. This way I'm still close by. I've left some of my insects around to keep an eye on her as well. Shino said as some flying beetles came out of his sleeves. Kyuubi looked at them with interest. Is this why you smell like bugs? He nodded. Don't they itch? They're not fleas. They live in my body like a hive. The Abiram explained. Neat. Kyuubi told him, looking at the many beetles. The four ninjas left to the trees about 10 meters away, leaving Akamaru with Kyuubi as an extra guard. So what are we going to do about her? Are we really going to take the Kyuubi to Konoha? Kiba started. We can't just desert her, but what would happen if she came with us? Naruto asked. Worst case scenario for us is that she decides to destroy the village once she gets there. Shino stated. For her the worst case scenario would be everyone tries to kill her on sight. That's what I'm afraid of. Naruto added seriously. If the people were trying to kill me as a kid when they just thought I was the fox, I can only imagine what they'd do to her. Wow. Naruto-kun sounds so concerned and protective, almost like a real father. Hinata thought. Can we be sure this isn't some kind of trick? Kiba asked. She smelled so sincere and calm, but he then trailed off, like he had forgotten whatever point he was trying to make. It looks like the Kyuubi forgot everything that happened before now and might just be a normal child now. Hinata commented. Naruto scratched the back of his head. So, do you think that when the seal got damaged, it affected Kyuubi herself? It's possible. Or maybe the Kyuubi was a child to begin with. Shino added. Whoa, you mean that the village was almost destroyed by a child demon? Kiba asked, then turned to Naruto. Tough break man. I'd hate to see someone like that throw a temper tantrum. I don't think Kyuubi was a kid from the start. Naruto argued. I saw the fox and the seal occasionally and I'm pretty sure she was an adult then. So I'm willing to bet she was changed. For argument's sake, we'll go with that hypothesis. Even so, the important issue is what are we to do with her? Shino asked. Why don't we ask Hokage-sama? Hinata suggested. Still, how can we get her into Konoha? Naruto asked. It looked like Naruto had already decided to try and help the fox-tailed child. Hinata admired his caring side while Shino and Kiba just hoped he knew what he was doing. In that case, we should test to see if she can hinge herself to look like a normal human. Since she's a fox, I'm sure she could do it. And we'll say we found her alone and felt she was better off with us. We'll only tell Hokage-sama the truth. Shino offered. Hope Bach-an doesn't have a heart attack. Naruto thought out loud. I'd be more worried about what the Kyuubi would do instead. Kiba added. Let's see if maybe she's really just a child now, Kiba-kun. Hinata suggested. Also, we should give her a different name. We can't call her Kyuubi in Konoha. That's just inviting trouble. Any suggestions? I never figured I would have to name a kid. Naruto said. Not at the moment, no. Shino replied. The only thing I can think of is Kyuuko, but I'm not sure it's a good one. How about Ryoku? Seems appropriate for her. Kiba offered, coming up with an Inyazuka-style name for her. And maybe a cane. Hinata suggested. Naruto thought about it. I'm sure we can come up with something by the time we get there. Good ideas though. Another thought came to him. Hey, Kiba, any idea why she says I'm her father? Is it some kind of fox thing? Maybe. You know how young birds assume the first thing they see is their mother? Kiba asked, and Naruto nodded. Well, for most mammals, the scent they're most familiar with tells them who their parent is. It's called imprinting, and maybe she imprinted on you because of your jacket. Or maybe it was the work of the seal. Shino countered. Since Naruto and the Kyuubi have a connection and her mind is clearly disorientated from something, then maybe she just assumes Naruto is her parent despite the difference in species. Shino looked towards where they had left her. We should get going soon. They nodded and went back to the demon child. When they got there, they saw her chasing some of Shino's bugs playfully as they flew, smiling like a carefree little girl, being watched by Akamaru and Naruto's clone. Akamaru barked and she turned to see the four adults and went right up to them. Is everything okay, Otu-san? Naruto smiled to make her feel comfortable. For now. We might have a problem once we get home, but we'll handle that later. He dispelled the shadow clone, then lifted her onto his back and they all headed off to Konoha, hoping they weren't heading into trouble. Chapter 3. The Goddamn Hokage and the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Could you repeat that? I must have misheard you. Tsunade said to teammate and Naruto as she used her pinky finger to dig out the obstruction she was sure she had in her ear. Tsunade was sitting at her desk in the Hokage office with Shizune and Taunton at her left. In front of her were from her left to right Kiba, Shino, Hinata and Naruto, who had just given her the news of the mission. The Kyuubi was currently sitting outside the room, guarded by a shadow clone and Akamaru. She still wore Naruto's jacket as her only clothing and it kept her tails hidden as long as they were curled up against her back. Her ears were pressed against her scalp and her hair had been moved to cover them for now. She was nervous since Kiba told her they were seeing the alpha of the whole village and it was up to her on what her fate was. Too nervous to even keep a proper henge on. Shino, being the most diplomatic and tactful of them all, chose to answer the Hokage. We did our mission to check aim for any remnants of Akatsuki as you ordered, with minimal interference. Well, there we found nothing, implicating that whatever remains of the criminal organization is either too well hidden for us or they have relocated their headquarters. On our way back we encountered a Kirinin that attacked us. In the fight his sword cut the seal on Naruto's stomach and he soon retreated afterwards. The seal disappeared before our eyes and red chakra leaked out of the wound, healing it in the process. The red chakra then condensed and took on the form of a young girl of about 7 or 8 years of age, with 9 red fox tails. Basically, you heard us right the first time. Kiba added. Tsunade laid her head in her crossed arms and sighed wearily. I really need a drink and a day off, in that order. Then she slowly raised her head back up, deciding to start off small. Can you describe the person you encountered and fought? Yes. He wore a Kiri Hit I-8 blue-toned camouflage pants and 1 glove. On his left arm were symbols of several hidden villages carved into his skin. His sword was shaped like a boomerang and could be thrown like one. Shino described the assailant using the most unique and descriptive details he could remember. Sounds somewhat familiar. Tsunade mumbled as she reached for her copy of the bingo book. She shifted through several pages then stopped. Ha. Thought so. She then showed them the page she had stopped on. Would this be him? The 4 shinobi took a look at the picture on the page. Yeah, that's him. Who is he? His name is Kashu Ryutake and he's supposedly another of Kiri's 7 swordsmen. He was actually a long-range fighter and his sword, named Haredo, pretty much was a bladed boomerang. According to the records he could channel chakra into it from a distance, somehow without any real connection to the blade, to make it more lethal. Records also say he's a bit of a killjoy and had killed Inkiri, Kumo, Taki, and Kusa before. Well, that explains those scars on his arms. Naruto commented. Now, onto the more important subject. Tsunade said as she put the book away. Tell me about the Kyuubi child. Well, we kinda named her Akane, since calling her Kyuubi here would be a horrible idea. Naruto told her. We asked her what she can remember, but she can't really remember much. She does remember meeting me before and being in a cage, but not why or how she got out or anything before that. Oh, and she said something about a man with red eyes. Red eyes, huh? Tsunade asked. Is she really acting like a kid? Actually yes. Kiba answered. We kept an eye on her constantly on the way back. Mostly she just played when she could and always did as we told her. Especially when Naruto called the shots. The Inyazuka pointed his thumb at the whiskered blonde when he said that last part. She asked a lot of questions and we were careful answering her, but she never attacked or tried to run off. If anything she couldn't get close enough to me. Naruto commented. The demon child now named Akane by teammates stuck by Naruto like a tick if she could. Kiba told him pups and kits traditionally only felt safe when they were near their parents or guardians. This was even more so in abandoned pups and kits that latched onto a new caregiver. It reminded Naruto of Haku's behavior regarding Zabuza or Ranmaru's behavior regarding Raiga. What exactly do you plan to do with her? Shizune butted in, and it was obvious to all but Naruto that she was really asking him instead of everyone. Well, that's something we thought we should ask you, Bachan. Naruto told Tsunade. Tsunade clasped her fingers together and rested her chin on them. She then closed her eyes and thought about it. Can you bring her in here for a moment? She asked when her eyes reopened, anxious and wary to see this demon for herself. The four shinobi nodded and opened the door. Naruto's clone dispelled and Akamaru tugged on Akane's borrowed jacket. She walked in and stood right between Naruto and Hinata, leaning on Naruto's leg. Tsunade and Shizune looked right at Akane curiously, without making any sounds or facial gestures. Naruto ruffled the girl's hair and her fox ears stood up. Then her tails relaxed and fell out of the bottom of the jacket but didn't move much after that. The girl looks afraid, like she thinks we're going to do something to her. Shizune thought to herself. So this is the dreaded nine-tailed fox demon that attacked Konoha and made Naruto's life hell. Tsunade asked herself. Well, actually it was the dumbass villagers who made his life hell, not her. Even so, right now she barely looks like she could be in bigger annoyance than him. But she is young, so she could get dangerous later. Unless as her train of thought trailed off. Tsunade smiled, but it was more of a this I gotta see grin than a warm welcoming one. So you're Akane, right? Yes ma'am. She said with a bow. Tsunade noticed a slight tremble or twitch in her movements. Come here and let me get a good look at you. Akane's left foot took a step back and she looked up at Naruto. He nodded and had no fear emitting off him that she could sense, so she slowly went up to the side of the desk Shizune wasn't at. Tsunade turned her chair towards the girl and Shizune leaned in closer. Akane kept her hands clasped together in front of her and the fur on her tails was starting to stand on end. She's a cute one, isn't she? Shizune said to Tsunade, making Akane relax and her eyes widen. Tsunade then noticed her eyes were identical to Naruto's normal blue ones, not the red slitted ones he got when the Kyuubi's chakra would influence him. Well, Akane, what are your plans regarding you and Naruto? Tsunade broke the ice, wondering if there was any latent hostility between the Bijuu and its former container. Are you going to take me away from Otu-san? She fearfully asked. Otu-san? Tsunade and Shizune asked in shock. Well, teammate and Naruto had told them that the released Kyuubi was affectionate to the orange-loving ninja, they didn't indulge in that little bit of information right away. Tsunade looked right at Naruto. What is the meaning of this? Can we tell you later? Naruto asked, not wanting Akane around when that came up. No. Now. Tsunade demanded, rising from her chair. Akane eeped and stepped back. Well, she kinda imprinted on him Hokage-sama. Kiba jumped in to help out. We also think the seal might have something to do with it. Imprinting. That makes sense. Tsunade thought then sat back down. Naruto, I'd like to have Inoichi Yamanaka examine her to see if there's any effects on her mind that could be a threat to her or others. Only if you have Yamato Taichu with him. Naruto insisted. He's the only one who can do anything if her chakra goes haywire. Understood and smart thinking. Tsunade replied. Is there anybody any of you can trust with this information? Maybe my mother. No one in town knows more about handling potentially feral children than her. Kiba stated. I can't think of anyone in my family who could help us here. Hinata quietly added. I for one cannot at this time make any promises regarding my clan. Shino said. Personally I say the few who know, the better. Naruto claimed. Tsunade nodded, then reached into one of her drawers and pulled out some folders. Okay. First, here's the pay for your mission. She said handing them their money. Next, here's some extra I'm giving so you can get Akane some proper clothes. If anybody asks just say it's a bonus for fighting and telling us about Kashiryu take. After that bring her back here for the night. No. I wanna stay with Otu-san. Akane shouted as she went over to him and gripped his leg. Her claws dug in and hurt him a little, making him wince. He reached down and had her loosen her grip. Tsunade walked over to the girl and knelt down. Akane-chan, we need to do this to make sure there's nothing wrong with you. And Otu-san's home isn't exactly fit for you to move in just yet. While I handle you, he and his friends will get it ready for you. Tsunade could tell that, demon or not, this girl was really attached to the blonde she thought of as the son she never had. And to separate them would bring nothing but trouble, possibly for all of Konoha if the Kyuubi was mad enough. Better to just go with the flow here and let her keep thinking of Naruto as her family. Besides, maybe having a child to take care of would do wonders for Naruto's maturity. Tsunade then stood back up and smiled at her favorite knucklehead. Okay, Naruto, take your new daughter clothes shopping. Hinata, you accompany him since you obviously have better taste in girl clothes than him. For the love of Kami-sama, try not to cover her in orange. Kiba, see if your mother is available for an SS rank meeting, but don't tell her what it's about. Shino, try and see if anyone in your family could be trusted with this situation, but be discreet about it. You're all dismissed, and anyone returning be here after 8 o'clock. They nodded and left. Now Kane-chan, try to henge yourself again and keep it up this time. Naruto could be heard telling the Kyuubi in the hallway. Think this is going to go well? Shizune asked her mentor. I can only hope so. The slug-sanin responded. You do realize what you've just done, do you? Tsunade arched her eyebrow and looked at her first apprentice. What exactly do you mean? You've just made Naruto Uzumaki the guardian and role model for the most powerful demon in the world, who is at this moment in a very impressionable state of mind. Tsunade's eyes widened in horror at the implications. Dear Kami-sama. An unpredictable expert prankster now has a fox demon under his wing. I've never needed a drink more in my life. She moaned and rested her face in her hands. Naruto, you had better not make me regret this. Chapter 4. Checking out the fox for clothes and problems. So what would be a good place to go, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. He and Hinata were walking down the streets into the market district after separating from Kiba and Shino. He was holding onto Akane's hand to make sure she didn't go wandering off if something caught her eye or nose. Well, I think the first she needs is a bath. Hinata stuttered, still not completely over the habit went out with Naruto, even after about a year of dating. She was doing much better than when she started, but occasionally her stutter would resurface. Not that she stinks or anything. It's just better she be clean before trying on clothes. Alright. Let's take her back to my place and give her a bath. Naruto said. Akane, who had hinged herself to look like a normal red-haired child, grinned at being able to go to his house so soon. Actually, it was more of an actual transformation than a henge, since she was a fox demon. As the three walked towards Naruto's apartment, they drew quite a lot of attention. After all, with a child on one side and the Hyuga heiress on the other, it looks a lot like the most famous orphan of Konoha now had a family of his own. Akane's demonic hearing let her catch bits and pieces of the villagers' gossip. Am I seeing things right? Is that the Uzumaki boy with a girl and a kid? Did he get her knocked up? That girl's even dressed like him. Bad taste must be genetic. Akane tugged Naruto's hand to get his attention. Otu-san, people are talking about us. They're not saying anything bad, are they? He asked. Some. But most are just surprised to see us together. Why? Naruto scratched the back of his head. Just don't worry about it for now. People like to talk and soon they'll find something else to gossip about. Akane nodded. Hinata and Naruto kept their eyes open to see if anybody looked really upset at the sight they were presenting. Or worse, if anyone was going to do something about it. Sure, the town had dropped their prejudices against Naruto some time ago, but they were probably still a few who would go out of their way to make him miserable. And right now they really didn't need to deal with that. Before the two got to any clothing stores, they ran across Ino and Sakura, who were window shopping at the moment. Sakura noticed the pair first. Hi, Naruto and Hinata. Hey, who's this with you? Akane looked at the pink-haired Kunoichi and suddenly panicked. She went right behind Naruto and quivered. It was like when Hinata was close to Naruto years ago, but Akane was acting more frightened than nervous. What's wrong, Akane-chan? Hinata asked, placing her hand on the demon girl's shoulder. I don't know. But when I see that woman, all I can think about is being hit. Akane replied, making everyone widen their eyes. Do you think I'm just going to go and hit you? Sakura asked, a little mortified and maybe even a little offended. She tried to get closer to prove the girl wrong, but Akane tried to back away some more. Sakura-chan, maybe you should back off a bit. I don't think she's in the mood now. Naruto told his teammate. I'm just trying to show her I'm harmless. Sakura defended herself. Harmless. Yeah, and Shikamaru's a workaholic. Hinata, and Naruto sarcastically thought. Well, they had no reason to think Sakura would actually attack the young girl, harmless just wasn't how one could describe Tsunade's second apprentice. Akane looked at from behind Hinata and her instincts told her this girl wasn't a threat. Maybe even sometimes helpful. Nowhere near as good as the pale-eyed girl she was currently close to, but still safer than the one with bubblegum hair. Took a good look at the red-haired girl and instantly thought, you gotta be kidding me. She's wearing that. Then she looked at Naruto. Naruto, you don't have the slightest concept of fashion sense, do you? We're going to get her clothes right after a bath, And I've already been told no orange. What's everybody got against orange? In moderation and coordination it's okay, which you don't do. Told him. I better help you. You need a woman's touch for this. Shopping was one of Ino's favorite things to do in her time off, so she figured it was okay to invite herself along. So Hinata-chan's not good enough? Naruto asked, wondering if he should be offended for her. What? No, that's not it. Just thinking a second opinion might be good is all. Might as well, Naruto-kun. She is better at this sort of thing than me. Hinata told her boyfriend. Fine. But no treating her like a doll. Naruto insisted. Okay then, I think I know where we should start. Told them as she led them to one of the civilian clothing stores she would go to all the time before she made ninja. They went inside and led them to the part of the store she remembered best. How about this one? You've gotta be kidding. Naruto and Sakura said in unison. The outfit held was basically a smaller version of Ino's common genin ensemble. Chuckled. Actually, yeah, I am. But it's still a good idea if you ask me. Naruto suddenly pictured Akane dressed like and even wearing her hair like used to. Then she pictured her reading fashion magazines and fawning over Sasuke Uchiha, and it made his blood run cold. Kami-sama, if you care about me at all, you will not have the Kyuubi be a mini Then he pictured Akane acting more like Sakura back in the academy and genin days. Scratch that. Mini would be the lesser of two evils. And Sakura starting looking through the racks trying to find anything that caught their attention. Naruto was therefore allowed to keep working on his train of thought. Now that I think about it, Akane-chan could definitely use a good female role model. If she's going to stay, then I don't want to see her grow up demonic. I never thought I'd be a parent so soon, so I'm going to need some help. But from who? He looked and saw Hinata showing Akane some sundresses and shoes. Naruto tried imagining Akane acting more like Hinata used to. Now that one doesn't sound so bad. A timid demon is less likely to go on a rampage than a fangirl one. Using the money Tsunade gave them, Naruto was able to afford 3 different outfits for Akane and 2 different sets of pajamas, along with shoes, socks, and underwear with some cheap accessories for flair. And Sakura offered to see if they still had any of their old clothes stored away they could give. Hinata couldn't since the Hyugas weren't much for hand-me-downs. Akane was allowed to put on one of the outfits in the store dressing rooms before leaving. She chose a red t-shirt with a blue skirt and gray sandals. All 3 girls and even the cashier called her cute when she came out wearing it, making her blush. 8 o'clock came and Naruto and Hinata brought Akane to the Hokage tower after dinner at Ichiraku's and a delayed bath at Naruto's apartment. Tucci and Am were shocked beyond belief to see someone keep pace with Naruto when eating. They saw a lot of profit being made for them later on. Naruto and Hinata met up with Shizune in the main room of the first floor. We're holding the meeting in interrogation room A. She told them, then led them to the basement and the designated room. Inside the room was Tsunade, Inoichi, Yamato, Ibiki, Anko, Kiba, Shino, and Tsume. Ibiki and Anko were let in on the meeting since they would be able to keep tabs on the girl if anything went wrong. Hello there, Akane. Now that looks much nicer on you than orange, doesn't it? Tsunade greeted with a smile. If you say so, Bachan. Akane replied. Tsunade's eyebrows ticked, then she looked at Naruto angrily. I didn't tell her to say that. I swear. Naruto defended himself. Tsunade giggled at him. I let it pass. Sounds cute when she says it. She said as she led Akane to the examination table. Looks like he's already rubbing off on her. I really hope Shizune won't say I told you so later. Tsunade picked up Akane and placed her on the table. Inoichi and Yamato got in front of her. So this is the much feared Kyuubi, now going by the name Akane. Inoichi thought. Let's start out simple. What is your name, little girl? Akane tried to act brave. The blonde man she sensed no familiarity with, but the other man she did, and it was a comfortable type of familiarity. I'm Akane. Akane Uzumaki. And where do you come from? Where were you born? Inoichi asked. Akane paused for a moment. I don't remember. I think it was some place with lots of trees and grass. Kinda like here. What's the earliest thing you can remember? Ibiki asked. Akane closed her eyes to think about it. Red eyes with black things in them that spun around. They belonged to some old guy in a black cape. One thought went through everyone's minds. Sharingan. What can you remember after that? Yamato asked. Mostly being trapped in darkness and being hurt over and over. For reasons no one would ever tell me. And feeling lonely. Akane answered, one small tear beginning to pool in her left eye. Inoichi met and put his hand on his chin. Tsunade-sama, I think I should check her memories directly, if you let me. Sure. Yamato, Anko, Ibiki, Tsum, be ready if anything happens. Tsunade ordered. They all nodded. Otu-san. Akane turned to Naruto nervously but stayed on the table. It'll be okay, Akane-chan. He won't hurt you. He told her. She then slowly turned back to the older blonde man to await whatever he was going to do. Inoichi made several hand signs, then said memory scan jutsu and placed his right hand on her forehead. His eye glowed, then both of their eyes turned wide as the jutsu began working. He found fragmented memories, the first being someone with a Sharingan looking right at him since he was viewing them from the Kyuubi's perspective. Then he saw the Shinigami and iron bars, then the next memories made no sense to him. He saw the girl running down the streets as people threw garbage at her and shouted nasty things, still watching it from her eyes. He saw her looking at frogs in a pond, then someone sneak up from behind and try to drown her until an Anbu saved her. He saw her painting buildings and the Hokage monument, sitting in a classroom and looking out the window of a rundown apartment, looking at happy families walk by and sighing. Then Inoichi saw images of certain people. He saw Iruka Yamino trying to save her life from a large shuriken. He saw Kakashi Haddock standing around reading his favorite book. He saw Sasuke sneer and ignore her and Sakura get mad and wail on her. He saw her argue with Uraya about peeping, then training in several jutsus and fighting styles. He saw her interact with several of the Rookie 12 and several adults and get along for the most part on occasion with some otherwise instances. And he even saw her fighting several people he didn't recognize, but some of them were Itachi, Uchiha and Pain. And then he saw her look at Naruto through iron bars a few times. The first time it looked like Naruto was angry, then later it was more like they were trying to reach a sort of understanding. Inoichi then left the girl's mind. Nobody had moved, so nothing must have happened. So, what did you see? Tsum asked. I think that Naruto and his friends should go outside for this. I'll tell you guys soon, but there's something I need to tell the others first. And take Akane with you, for the same reasons I just gave. Inoichi requested. After the four younger shinobi left the room with Akane, he addressed the remaining Jounins and Sannin. I think that when the seal lost power, it had to have affected the Kyuubi's mind. Her body, no promises, but definitely her mind. How was it affected? Shizune asked. Well, I saw nothing of the Kyuubi's life before it. Sorry, she was sealed into Naruto. Just the Sharingan wielder, then nothing else. It's like she's mentally started her life over again. Maybe that's why she looks like a child, because mentally she is one now. But that's not the weirdest thing. What is, then? Anko asked. There were no memories before being sealed, however, the Kyuubi had many after being sealed. And if I had to guess, they were actually fragments of Naruto's memories, but she was remembering them as if they happened to her instead. Inoichi explained. Why would that happen? Ibiki asked. Maybe it has something to do with the connection between them. Yamato offered. Or maybe the fox has been watching everything in Naruto's life all along. I don't know, but whatever the cause, how bad's the damage, Inoichi-san? Somewhat bad. She remembers several bad times, maybe a few good times, but it's mostly like she has amnesia. The best memories are mostly impressions she's got on people Naruto has met before, and even then she doesn't actually know or remember them, just has a feeling about them based on what Naruto best pictures about them. Inoichi explained as best he could figure it. Tsunade didn't like the sound of this. The Kyuubi was basically a blank slate now from the sound of things, and she would go by Naruto's judgment on most people she met and most situations she got into. Tsunade had to make sure Naruto wouldn't mess this up. We should keep her here overnight for some more examinations, just to confirm your theory, Inoichi. I'll go get her and tell the others they can go home if they want. Tsunade left the room and did just that. She was actually expected a bit of a fuss on this, but the four let her do what needed to be done and wanted to be told the results tomorrow morning. With that done, Tsunade went back into the room where they were getting ready to give Akane a physical. And she was fighting back like an animal when they tried to pin her down. This is going to be a long night. Chapter 5. The fox gets a family and Naruto gets a burden. Tsunade was sitting at her desk looking over some paperwork. For once there wasn't much there, so maybe she could finish early and have some much-deserved relaxation time. At the moment she was focused primarily on the plan she and the others had formed after evaluating Akane last night. It had taken a trick-or-treater's worth of candy to pacify the fox girl enough so they could actually look over her without Naruto present. Luckily she didn't eat it all at once, and unfortunately she had to fight Anko for some of it. Anko got a good number of scratch marks on her arms for it, and Shizune replied she had once warned the snake summoner her sweet tooth would get her in trouble someday. Anko just grunted and made some rude comment under her breath no one heard. The papers she held now were regarding Akane's custody and status in Konoha. Tsunade felt that as long as no one unnecessary knew about her true identity and nothing provoked some sort of memory gain, then the young girl was no threat. And if raised the right way she could be helpful to the village. Not a living weapon like Danzu would have planned, but rather a good contributor or guardian to the village. Suna had Shukaku, Kumo had the Nibi and Hachibi, and even Kiri once had the Sanbi, so why couldn't Konoha have the Kyuubi as its guardian? Still, raising the Kyuubi would pose a problem, more for Naruto than anyone else as Inoichi pointed out last night. Flashback. Okage-sama, may I have a word with you for a moment? Inoichi asked while Tsume and a now bandaged Anko looked over Akane, who looked ready to pass out and sleep. About what? Tsunade asked. Inoichi led them to a separate room connected to the main part of the interrogation chamber. I'm really concerned on how this girl is going to affect Naruto. Tsunade's eyebrows arched and her arms crossed, showing her concern and interest on the subject. Go on. Now, I don't mean that Naruto's in any danger from her. It's just that having her think of him as her father is going to probably be stressful for him. Inoichi paused to see if Tsunade would ask anything. When she didn't, he continued. Naruto's never had a real family to begin with, having to think of close friends and others like you as family instead. So ultimately he has no role model or way to base any parenting style off of. He'll have no idea what he's doing. Add that into the fact that he didn't have 9 months to prepare for parenthood or a loved one to share the burden with will only mean that Naruto might not feel up to the task of raising the girl, even if he can't bring himself to not try it. Tsunade nodded. You're right. He didn't have time to prepare for this situation. However, he can't ignore it, and neither can we. The best we can do is give Naruto all the support he needs. Naruto will officially be declared Akane's legal guardian tomorrow, and she will be legally declared his daughter by adoption. Screw whatever denials the council might claim for whatever stupid reason they might come up with. They don't need to know anything else on the subject, just like anyone else not present tonight. Okage-sama, given what I've just said, is that really wise? Inoichi asked. I believe this might be a good thing. Akane is no threat at the moment, and I feel if she's raised with care she could be a great help to the village. Not a weapon, but you must admit having the Kyuubi as an ally is much better than as an enemy. And this could help Naruto mature greatly. Teammate could also benefit from helping him nurture the child. Tsunade told the Yamanaka clan head. But what if she becomes like the old Kyuubi? If she's raised like a normal person, then she won't. Inoichi's eyebrows arched. So you want to see how nature versus nurture works for a demon, is that it? That about sums it up. Tsunade admitted. If this doesn't work and Akane becomes like the old Kyuubi, then she'll be weak enough for us to do something about it. But if this does work, then maybe Naruto can finally know what being part of a family is like. This might even help the Gaki and Hinata get closer, especially if the girl wants a mother too. You can't tell me Naruto doesn't deserve the chance to be part of a family. No question there, but are you sure he's ready for this responsibility? And with her nonetheless? Inoichi asked. Is anybody ever really ready to be a parent? All we can do is hope for the best and be ready for the worst. Have some faith in him. Tsunade told Inoichi, then went back into the main room, where Akane was now sound asleep and Anko was pocketing a few pieces of her candy for later, thinking nobody noticed. Then flashback. Tsunade did one last check on the form regarding Akane and felt it was sound. All she needed was for Naruto to sign it and then she'd stamp it and everything would be official. And if anybody had any complaints nothing could be done about it, at least nothing that would prove effective. As long as the cover story held then everything should work out for them. Shizune opened the door. Tsunade-sama, they're here. She said as Naruto and teammate entered the room, with Akane resting on Naruto's back with her eyes only half open. Ah, good. You all may sit down for this if you wish. Tsunade told them with a smile. 5 chairs were set up for them already, and each took a seat. From left to right the order went Kiba, Akane, who was trying to sleep some more, Naruto, Hinata, and Shino with Akamaru at Kiba's right. Now, Akane-chan's exam went well, although I wouldn't plan on Anko being near her anything soon, and we can get to business. In the event that anybody asks about her origins, the story will be that you 4 found her homeless and amnesiac and brought her here, like you originally thought out. This does occasionally happen on missions so none would argue it too much. Now, Naruto will be declared her legal guardian, and if you'll sign this then you two will be legally father and daughter. Tsunade indicated the form of adoption. You don't have to do it just now, wait until the end of the meeting at least. We'll say that the girl took a liking to you, which is true, so we felt this was better than placing her in the orphanage. Surely you Naruto would rather she not be there. He nodded firmly, not having good memories of that place. Teammate, well Naruto will be the only legal parent for now, Tsunade put extra emphasis on for now, like she didn't expect Naruto to be a single parent for long. He will have a difficult time doing this and I'd like you all to be of help to him when you can. Try to make time for it rather than just when you have nothing better to do. And I'm not asking you three just because you know about Akane-chan's secret. Out of all the teams and ninjas we have you three are best suited for this and will be the only ones informed. Iba and Iruka, the Hokage started, looking directly at the named youth. Your family has the best knowledge on the handling and instincts of children with animalistic qualities. And you can communicate with her in a tongue no one else here can. I'd like for you and your mother to make weekly visits to Naruto's to check up on her and do what your clan does to properly guide her physical, mental, and moral growth. But keep it within boundaries that Naruto can handle and if possible inform him on how to care for her when you're not present. Gotcha. Kiba replied. Ka-san found the girl cute and would like spending more time with her. Especially if she fights Anko some more. She got a real kick out it. Why am I not surprised? Tsunade thought, then looked at the young man at the other end of the row. Shino Aburam, you are needed because of your steady control of emotions and use of insects. I have faith that with the proper guidance Akane-chan will not become a threat to anyone. However, because of her nature she might become volatile and act up. You can help her learn to express herself non-violently and reduce her chakra in the event it doesn't work. Now don't teach her to act like an Aburam since she isn't one, but your family has the best emotional control in Konoha and I worry she'll need it in the long run. We can't afford to have a demon who acts up recklessly run around our village. I understand Hokage-sama. Shino stated. Satisfied, Tsunade turned to the only Kunoichi seated before her. Hinata Hyuga, your role will possibly be the most vital, apart from Naruto's. The Hyuga girl looked confused and maybe even unworthy to hear she would be so important for this. As informative as the rest here can be for her when guiding her, they are men and thus can only teach her so much. There are some things that only a woman can proper teach a young girl, and that's where you come in. You will be the female role model and mentor for Akane-chan. Hinata didn't respond, just sat there wide-eyed and holding her breath without realizing it. Hey, Hinata-chan, is something wrong? Naruto asked, shaking her arm to snap her out of her daze. Hinata blinked and inhaled when she heard Naruto. Hokage-sama, are you sure I'm right for this? Do you feel otherwise? Tsunade asked back. The girl is close to Naruto, and so are you. You're going to be around him often anyways, so it should be no problem for you to spare some for her. Or would you rather I ask some other girl to hang around her and Naruto more too? I'll do it. Hinata asserted herself instantly, cutting off the Hokage. Tsunade smiled. Looks like she understood my hidden message. Sorry to push things for you, but surely you don't want to risk the alternative. Well, looks like everything's settled then. Not quite, Bachan. Naruto added. What do we do if something happens and people see her tails or ears? Or if she turns into a complete fox? When he finished asking Akane's eyes opened and she looked around like she knew they were talking about her but didn't quite catch what had been said. Glad you asked Gaki. Hopefully she'll maintain her human form when in public, but in the event that fails, we'll claim that she has a Kekkei Genkai that allows true transformations rather than hinges. As for the fox features, we'll say one of her presumably deceased relatives was part of a Kitsune version of the Inuzuka clan, so vulpine traits are the easiest for her to do. Basically we'll be saying she's a special type of human rather than a fox demon. With any luck people will buy that, but don't bring it up unless the situation demands you have to. Any other questions? Should she be enrolled in the academy? Shino asked. Not yet. The current semester ends in about 2 months and the next one will begin after the 2-week vacation, so we'll wait until then to do that. If she expresses an interest in attending that is. I feel that she has great potential in that area that can be put to great use, but she will not be pushed into being a ninja. It will be her choice. Tsunade answered. She would have asked Aridit if she was interested, but she looked barely fully awake so said nothing. Is that all? Nobody replied. Very well, then you may go. I'm giving all 4 of you the next 2 days off so you can work this change and schedule out amongst yourselves. Say, why don't you guys try and introduce Akane-chan to some people? You know, get her to socialize and bond. Shizune suggested. Sure. Sounds good. Naruto replied. Who am I going to see? Akane asked curiously, now looking more awake and alert. Sleep well? Tsunade playfully asked. Yes, Bachan. Akane politely answered. Did I miss anything? Tsunade shook her head. Not really. I'm sure your father and the rest can fill you in on anything you may ask. As for who you'll see, some more friends of your father. Akane tilted her head. Like Forehead-san and Pig-san. The others looked surprised at this, while Kiba openly laughed and Naruto and Shizune looked like they were trying not to. What? That's what the ponytail girl and the cotton candy head called each other. Hope you can handle her Naruto. Tsunade told the blonde with a smile. Chapter 6. Several jounin meet the new Uzumaki in town. Before Naruto and teammate left the Hokage tower, Naruto had knelt down to face his new daughter. "So Akane-chan, you understand the cover story, right?" They had told her what to say if anyone asked about who she was or where she came from. She nodded. "Yeah, I'm not a fox demon but a normal person. I have some kind of special ability that lets me transform, and becoming a fox is the easiest thing for me to transform into. I can't let anyone know the truth since there are many here who might try to kill me if they knew. Or worse, whatever that means. And I came from near the border of Land of Fire, with no memories of anything before some kind of attack that killed everyone I knew." Naruto nodded and grinned. "Very good. You got it right." He patted her on the head. "And remember, outside my apartment, you have to always look human. No fox features where anybody can see you, okay?" She nodded. "Good. Do that and you should be okay." "So what are we going to do today?" Akane asked. "How about I introduce you to some people I know? It'll help you meet people and know what to do around them," Naruto suggested. "Okay. Anybody close to my age?" Hibba leaned close to Shino. "I hope she means kids cause I don't think we're going to find anybody here several centuries old." Shino simply nodded in agreement. "I think I know just the guys," Naruto replied. "Let's go look around. We're bound to find someone." He then turned to the rest. "You guys gonna come along?" "Sorry Naruto, but I have to take a biannual Aburum-style physical around noon, so I'm afraid I must part from here. Another time." Shino told him. "I'll try in the afternoon. I kinda promised my sister I'd do a favor at the vet clinic this morning after this. So I'll look for you after lunchtime," Kiba added. "I'm available. I'll go with you Naruto-kun," Hinata said happily. "She sure likes being with Otu-san. I wonder why," Akane thought. Hiba and Shino said goodbye and went on their way while Naruto, Hinata, and Akane went somewhere else. "Maybe she should take Akane-chan to a park where she could meet some kids," Hinata suggested. "It would be better for her than trying to find some adults." Naruto smiled. "Sounds good to me." About 15 minutes away from the park they were heading to they ran across Kakashi Haddock, who was predictably reading one of his favorite Icha books. The sight of his old student with his girlfriend and a child out in public caught Kakashi's attention. "Hi there Naruto. Who's this with you? Are you babysitting or something?" Akane turned to Naruto. "Is he one of the guys you know, Otu-san?" "What did she just call him?" Kakashi asked himself. "Yeah, he's one of my old teachers," Naruto answered the little girl. Akane looked back at the white-haired jounin. For some reason she sensed this guy was knowledgeable but unreliable. "Why do you wear a mask and hide your eye?" "Well, my reasons are my own. And I have to keep this eye covered. If I don't it could cause problems for me and others," Kakashi remarked lazily. "Why? Is it ugly? Infected? What's wrong with it?" Akane curiously asked. This time she bothered the jounin. Kakashi took great pride in his one memento from Obito and cherished his departed teammates' lose. So he didn't like to hear someone put it down, even if they were a little naive in doing so. "You really want to know?" he asked the girl, kneeling down to her eye level and putting his left hand on his hit eye. She nodded. "Kakashi-sensei, don't," Naruto told his teacher sternly. "Relax Naruto, I'm not going to use it or anything, just show it off a little bit," Kakashi replied then lifted his headband. Akane looked right at Kakashi's left eye, froze with her own eyes wide, and without warning, pounced at the jounin and began scratching the hell out of his face like a rabid animal. Naruto quickly had several clones pull her off of Kakashi and restrain her. They brought her to him, holding her up by her arms, and Naruto and Hinata could see her panting. "What was that?" Naruto asked, both surprised and even disappointed in the girl for what she had done. Although he had to admit it was impressive to see her beat up the infamous copycat Kakashi. Akane caught her breath but was still held by the clones. "Sorry Otu-san, but when I saw his eye I don't know what came over me. I just had to attack him." Hinata leaned over to whisper in Naruto's ear. "Remember how she recalled something like the Sharingan before she was sealed away? That must be why she did this. She must not like the Sharingan." Naruto wasn't sure what to do about this. If Hinata was accurate, then Akane didn't deserve to be punished heavily. However, she did attack a Konohinin and she needed to be taught that wasn't a good thing to do. So he had to do something. He dispelled the clones. "Akane, you are going to apologize to this man for what you did. And no more just attacking someone unless they actually try to hurt you first. Got it?" She nodded and made a low growl that only Kiba would have understood. "Good. Now I'll check on him and make sure he's okay first. Stay here with Hinata-chan." Naruto went to look over his teacher, who was sitting upright with his face in his left hand, as if he had a headache. The wounds looked particularly bad, like he had really pissed off or frightened a clawed animal, which he basically did. But it was nothing a healing jutsu couldn't fix. The thing that caught Naruto's attention the most was that his mask had been literally shredded off, exposing Kakashi Haddock's entire cut-up face. Naruto was kind of disappointed that Kakashi's face was, in his opinion at least, so ordinary. What the hell was that for? Kakashi angrily mumbled. Sorry sensei. I tried to tell you showing her that would be a bad idea. But who knew it would be for you? At least she didn't ruin your smut book. Naruto told him while picking up the dropped Icha book. Otu-san, what smut mean? Akane asked as Hinata wiped some of Kakashi's blood off her fingers. Hinata noticed that there were no traces of claws anymore, just normal fingernails at the moment, making her wonder if the girl subconsciously did a minor transformation to attack. Naruto struggled to answer her. Well, smut is how you say dirty stuff that dirty-minded adults enjoy, and it's not for kids to know about. It's not smut or dirty. It's well-written literature that I thought you'd have more respect for Naruto since Jiraiya-sama wrote it. Kakashi countered while reclaiming his book. If it's good can I see it? Akane asked, holding out her hand. No. Naruto, Hinata, and Kakashi all yelled. Akane mock-pouted and crossed her arms. No fair. What's all the commotion? Guy's booming voice could be heard approaching from behind them, with Lee tagging along. Whoa, Kakashi, who or what did you anger to wind up looking like that? Kakashi pointed casually at Akane. That girl. Don't get too close. This cat has claws. Literally. I'm not a cat. Akane was going to say a fox, then caught herself and made a quick correction. I'm just a normal girl. You mean you got beat up by a child? Oh Kakashi my friend how low you've fallen. Guy lamented. You're his friend. So you enjoy smut too? Akane asked like it was an everyday question. Naruto and Hinata could not resist laughing at Guy's shocked face and twitch, even if they had been paid to. Even Kakashi had to smirk at that. Lee was just thinking this girl had a very youthful spirit. The older Taijutsu expert soon recomposed himself. Smut is a very unyouthful thing, and as a role model for the youth, I would never encourage such an interest. Listen to him young one. Guy-sensei is the most inspirational man in the world and if you follow his teachings you will walk the proper path of a ninja and a decent person. Lee added like the devoted trainee he would always be. Thank you for believing Lee. Guy praised. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. The two then did their trademark sunset jutsu to show off their flames of youth. Akane's eyes widened in horror and she immediately buried her face in Hinata's leg since she was the closest person to her. Make it stop. Make it stop. Cut it out guys you're scaring her. Naruto shouted at the two men in green jumpsuits. The two stopped and looked normal for them again. Sorry. We did not intend that. Who is this little girl by the way? Hinata coaxed the girl to try and look at Guy again. This is Akane-chan. She's our relative of Naruto-kun. Wow Naruto, you have a relative. Why have we never heard of her before? Lee curiously asked. She just moved to town. Her last home was destroyed so I'm going to be taking care of her. Naruto answered. Attaboy Naruto. Taking responsibility like that shows you have a tremendous amount of spirit that will surely help encourage the next generation's flames of youth to burn brightly. Guy proudly proclaimed as he did some kind of solo dynamic background jutsu to heighten his statement's value. Akane suddenly ran off screaming like a kid that saw the boogeyman. No more. No more. Naruto and Hinata chased after her. I can't believe it. I always knew that Guy-sensei could be a little over the edge, but he actually terrified the Kyuubi herself. Wonder what would have happened if he tried that the day she attacked the village. He tried picturing Guy doing some kind of show-off thing, resulting in the giant nine-tailed fox fleeing in terror. Guess they don't call him the green beast for nothing. Akane proved just as difficult to catch now as Naruto did to Anbu in his prankster days. Naruto and Hinata shouted for her to stop several times, but she either didn't hear them or couldn't think of stopping until she reached somewhere specific. At least she appeared to be running towards the Hokage tower, so they knew they would catch her eventually. The two almost failed to notice that something had forced Akane to stop running, but backtracked and saw she was standing still like she had been frozen in her run, her body twitching frequently like she was having a very minor seizure. Naruto and Hinata could see Chaozu Alamichi and Shikaku Nara nearby, and the scarred Nara was using his shadow possession jutsu to immobilize Akane. So can you two tell me why some young child was running like she was about to be killed? Shikaku calmly asked the two Chunin. She saw something that frightened her. Hinata asked, hugging the still immobile Akane to pacify her frantic heartbeat. Before you ask, Guy-sensei was being himself. Now can you let her go? Naruto added. I see. Enough said. Shikaku complied and withdrew his shadow. Akane could move again so she relaxed in Hinata's arms, feeling much better. I always knew that man's overzealous attitude was troublesome. And now you can honestly say he frightens children. Chaozu added. Maybe that'll make him limit himself. Shikaku didn't comment, paying more attention to the fact that Naruto was cheating on the girl now. Hey Naruto, we heard from Inoichi-san that you've gained a daughter recently. This would be her, I assume. Yeah. What all did he tell you? Naruto asked. Not much. Just that she and you got close on a mission and she's a lot like you. Does she know any jutsu yet? Chaozu replied. Not that I know of. Naruto answered. You mean like this? Akane asked, then squirmed out of Hinata's arms. She made a hand sign and a puff of smoke suddenly surrounded her. When it faded, there stood a red-haired nude version of Tsunade standing in a provocative stance, with her hair unbraided flowing down her back and smoke covering certain parts of her body. Does this impress you? Her voice sounded much more coy than the real Tsunade would ever even try to be. Tauza dropped his snack and had a nosebleed. Shikaku had no such reaction but desperately looked away. Don't do anything. If Yoshino found out otherwise, troublesome wouldn't even begin to describe it. Don't do anything. Naruto and Hinata just dropped their jaw looking at what the Kyuubi had done. Hinata leaned closer to her boyfriend. If I find out you taught her that. I swear I didn't, Hinata-chan. I swear to Kami-sama I didn't. I don't know how she knows that jutsu. Naruto nervously defended himself. Akane returned to normal in another puff of smoke. Akane-chan, where did you learn that? Akane blinked and tilted her head. I don't remember. It just felt like the natural thing to do then. Don't do that again. It could cause problems for you. Naruto told her. Does this mean she knows all my jutsus but isn't aware of it? I'm going to have to test her out really soon. Akane bowed her head shamefully. Sorry Otu-san, I'll do better. Poor Naruto-kun. He's going to have his hands full with her. Just know I'm here to help you through it all. Hinata thought. Chapter 7. A few more introductions are made. After saying goodbye to Shikaku and Chaozu, Naruto and Hinata led Akane back to the park, but a different one than the one they originally were going to go to. Mostly because the new choice was much closer and they didn't want to risk running into Guy again. It wouldn't do any good to chase down the fox girl all over again or have her end up attacking the Taijutsu expert like she did Kakashi. It might have been funny to watch, but it would just tell Akane it was okay to attack Konoha ninja and the two Chunin wanted to discourage that kind of behavior. When they got to the park, Hinata smiled to see her sensei Kurenai out with her 2-year-old son Sarada. She was sitting on a bench in the shade reading a romance novel and holding her sleeping son in her other arm. Hello, Kurenai-sensei. Good to see you today. Hinata called out, her voice only a little louder than its normal volume. Kurenai heard her student turn to face her and smiled. Good morning Hinata-chan. How are you and Naruto-kun today? She then noticed Akane between the two. Oh, and who's this with you? Akane looked at the Genjutsu user. Hi, I'm Akane. So you like smut too? She indicated the book Kurenai had in her hands. Kurenai, Naruto, and Hinata all gave the young girl horrified looks. Akane-chan, not all books are smutty. And Kurenai-sensei wouldn't read that kind of perverted stuff. Naruto told her. Thanks Naruto. And no girl, this is just a normal storybook. Kurenai added. With a few steamy parts thrown in occasionally, but they don't need to know that. Sorry about that Kurenai-sensei. Hinata apologized. No problem Hinata-chan. I take it she ran into Kakashi-san earlier? Kurenai asked her student. Hinata nodded. Figures. Why else would she think an adult with a book is a pervert? Akane looked over at the playground part of the park and tugged on Naruto's leg. Otu-san, can I go there for a while? Sure. Go have some fun. He told her with a smile. Akane ran over and first went on an open swing. She had a hard time getting started so Naruto came over and began pushing her. Hinata sat down and watched the two, Akane smiling and asking to go higher and Naruto pushing her with a small grin himself. Hinata couldn't help but feel pleased watching them both. So, care to tell me why that girl called Naruto her father? Kurenai whispered as she put down her book, marking her place and reaching into her bag to get out a juice box for Sarada when he woke up. He adopted her. Actually, she adopted him to be more accurate. Hinata answered, never tearing her eyes away from her favorite blonde. So that must make you her mother, right? Kurenai asked, slightly teasing and slightly serious at the same time. Hinata blushed then looked down and pressed her index fingers together. Well am I. Relax Hinata-chan. It's okay if you two don't have that kind of bond yet. And judging by how you and Naruto-kun have been, I'm betting soon that you will be called Aka-sen sooner or later. Kurenai said so her student wouldn't blow a gasket or something. Why you are really think so? Hinata asked with a blush and Kurenai could actually see a glimmer of hope in the Hyuga's pale lavender eyes. Kurenai smiled and nodded. Definitely. It'll happen. Just don't rush it. Let her get attached to you first and try to be someone she can admire and look up to and it'll be sure to happen. Especially if you and Naruto-kun get closer. She stopped to wake up her son and gave him his drink before he got fussy. Hinata thought about what her teacher had told her and imagined herself in the future. She saw herself sitting on a couch in a house with a blonde baby in her arms that looked just like Naruto. Then the aforementioned blonde entered the room holding Akane's hand, who both said hi to her, but Naruto added dear, and Akane added Akase, and Hinata smiled and asked them how their day was, and Akane answered first, telling about what she learned in school eagerly, making her and Naruto feel proud of her. Hinata snapped out of her little fantasy and felt a sense of inner warmth. She looked back up at the playground and saw Akane swinging by herself and Naruto standing back to watch her. Hinata smiled and lightly blushed, hoping that vision wasn't just wishful thinking. Half an hour later Akane was having fun on the slides, and Naruto had gone off for a moment to get some bentos for the four of them, Kurenai included. Hinata stayed to watch Akane and talk with Kurenai. While the Genjutsu master was giving Hinata motherhood advice, Ino showed up with several of their friends, all of the rookie 12 except Sasuke and Shino. Ino liked to gossip, so she felt the news that Naruto had a child now was too good not to spread amongst friends. And they decided that this was definitely something to see. Kiba, Sakura and Lee already had seen her, but felt like doing with their friends anyway. Kiba got out of the vet clinic early, Sakura had nothing better to do, and Lee wanted to comfort the girl about Guy, while Shino was still busy at his physical, and Sasuke was AWOL. Tia Hinata-chan. Where's the blonde and the pup? Kiba casually asked as they all approached. Hi everyone. Naruto-kun's on a quick errand now and Akane-chan's over there. She pointed at the girl who was waiting in line to get back on the slide. Hey, Akane-chan. Kiba called out for her. Several kids looked over at the Inuzuka boy. Akane saw him and decided to go over. Hi. Did you want something? She then looked over the rest of the group and in the back of her mind felt a sense of uncertain familiarity towards all of them. Ino stepped over to her. Hi little girl. Remember me? You're Pig-san, aren't you? Akane innocently asked. Ino looked stunned and Sakura laughed. What did you call me? Ino angrily asked with a tick above her left eye. Pig-san. It's what Forehead-san called you, isn't it? Akane asked innocently again. Now Sakura looked stunned and Ino began laughing. A few of the others did too. It took a moment for Ino to settle down. From now on call me Ino. But go ahead and keep called her Forehead. No way in hell Ino pig. Girl, my name is Sakura, not Forehead, and you should address me as such. Akane tilted her head and backed away from the screaming woman who made her feel uneasy from the start. Oh okay, such-san. After that the only ones present not laughing were Akane and Sakura, who bent down to look right at the red-haired girl sternly, almost menacingly. Akane panicked for an instant, feeling like she might be hit for something she didn't understand, so she got her nails transformed into claws just then and crossed her arms defensively in front of herself. Listen here girl. I'm Sakura. Got it? Just Sakura. Do I make myself clear? Hinata knelt down behind Akane and wrapped her arms comfortingly around the girl. That's enough Sakura-san. She's just a little kid and they tend to do things like that. No need to go crazy over it. Akane relaxed in the Hyuga girl's arms, feeling safe and her claws turned back into nails. Hey guys. How's everybody? Naruto could be heard calling out to them approaching from behind with 4 bento boxes in his hands. Sorry I don't have enough for everyone. He handed one to Akane, one to Hinata, one to Kurenai, and he gave the last to Chouji since he figured that the husky ninja might go crazy, seeing others eat while he himself couldn't. I take it you all were introduced to Akane-chan here. He noticed how Hinata held her when he showed up and wondered what had upset his newfound daughter. Yeah we have. She seems to have a bit of a mischievous side in her. Tenten replied. She has your eyes. So the two of you are indeed related? Niji asked. It's a bit of a stretched connection, but yeah, we are. Naruto told him to avoid telling the truth. How troublesome. Having this kind of responsibility so soon. Shikamaru commented like he was getting bored. Don't give us that, Shika. Can't you say anything positive here? Ino muttered. Alright then. Naruto you're a stronger man than me if you're going to try this. The shirker added to please his teammate. Everybody there took their turn introducing themselves to Akane and then started asking her a little about herself. Hey Akane-chan, you thinking of becoming a ninja too when you're older? Tenten asked. Maybe. Feels like a good idea. She answered. Due to the fact she had vague fragments of Naruto's memories in her own mind, she remembered herself saying she was going to be a ninja and trying to work to be one. But she also remembered times when some ninjas tried to kill her and demean her, so that somewhat unnerved her. If I do will I be able to defend myself from bad people? Absolutely. Work hard enough and you'll be strong enough to do whatever you plan and dream. Lee told her. The fact that he added no flair to his words meant that Akane only tensed slightly at hearing him. Then I'll get strong enough to become Hokage someday. That way everybody will respect me and stop putting me down. Akane proclaimed, sounding very Naruto-esque. Niji gave Naruto a friendly smirk. If I had any doubt that she's related to you Naruto-san, it's gone now. Same here. Sakura and Ino agreed, now thinking he might actually be a good role model for her, to a point of course. If I didn't know better I'd swear she really was his daughter. Hinata and Kiba thought just then. That's my girl. Naruto said proudly. Whoa, did I actually say that out loud? She must be growing on me sooner than I thought. The Kane smiled at the orange-loving shinobi and lightly hugged him. Thanks Otu-san. Hinata smiled at this little interaction. He's really beginning to think like a parent. And I have faith he's doing to be great at it. But still, the girl does need a mom. Wait, hold on. That's for Naruto-kun to decide, not me. Do you have any skills yet? Has Naruto taught you any jutsus or anything? Chaoji asked, trying to be friendly. There's one thing I can already do. Akane said as she got her hands ready for the transformation sign. No. Naruto and Hinata shouted and reached out to stop her. Akane looked remorseful, then inspired. Wait. I just thought of something else. She quickly made the cross sign and flared her chakra. Instantly the group was surrounded by 24 or so Akanes ringed around them. So how's this? You like it? Please don't tell me I'm the only one who saw this coming. Shikamaru moaned. Judging from the looks of his friends, he was. What a drag. Kurenai arched her eyebrows as her son made a sound of glee at seeing the jutsu. How could a child no older than 8 possibly do a jounin level jutsu like this? Naruto doing it as a genin is one thing, but her? Even if she was a Jinchuriki too this should be impossible. So what is she hiding and do Naruto-kun or Hinata-chan know it? Impressive Akane-chan. Something tells me you'll do much better in school than your father did. Ino praised, teasing Naruto somewhat. Any other surprises? Sakura asked. That ought to be enough. Don't want to show off everything at once do you? Naruto answered for Akane. Hey Naruto-san, if you're that girl's father, then who's the mother? Chaoji asked. Nobody answered right away, trying to think of the best way to answer that. It was Akane who answered first. I don't have one yet. How can I when Otu-san has no mate? Kiba turned to face the rest before they could ask any follow-up questions. She means that since Naruto has no wife or fiancé she doesn't feel right calling someone her mother. He predicted that behavior for her, since she would have to think of Naruto's mate as the alpha female of the pack, and since no girl looked or smelled like Naruto was courting them, she wouldn't recognize a mother yet. The girlfriend wasn't the same as courting, so it wasn't enough yet for Akane to recognize, at least until she got more comfortable around Hinata. The overall general response of the group was that they understood what Kiba told them. After that they continued chatting for a bit on random things involving them. When it got late Naruto said he had to take Akane home. They all wished him well and let him and the young girl left before they themselves went off to their own homes. Chapter 8. Seeing just what the fox can do. Morning came and Naruto woke up early. He glanced into what had just been turned into Akane's room and saw her still asleep. The room wasn't decorated at all and seemed pretty much devoid of flair and personality. All that really was in there was a futon with an orange blanket and a dresser for her spare clothes. But the young girl didn't mind, at least for now. Probably since she was mostly an animal she could live without possessions and not be bothered. However, since she planned on living in a human village as a human, she was going to need some to make it easier and more believable. The idea got Naruto thinking as he quietly closed the door. I guess this is really happening. I'm responsible for a kid now. And not just any kid, the Kyuubi herself. Funny, never saw that coming, and I don't think anyone else could have either. But how am I supposed to do this? I never knew my father so how would I know how to be one? Naruto stopped in the kitchen to get something to eat for breakfast. He knew he should make something for Akane too, but couldn't make up his mind. Ramen didn't seem like a good idea, especially since Tsunade went on about how he shouldn't try to make every one of their meals ramen, no matter how much both liked it, or she'd get rough on him. Some toast and eggs seemed like a good generic way to start off now, then he'd ask her what she liked to eat. And that's another thing. Naruto continued as he got some milk out for them both, planning on waking her up shortly. I should find out more about what she likes, dislikes, fears, and is capable of doing. So far we focused mostly on what she remembers and knows. I feel we've already covered that as best we can. So now well I guess get to know her as a person rather than a demon. Heh, sounds a little weird to say that. Having a small breakfast ready, Naruto returned to the young girl's room and pulled her blanket back. He saw she was curled up much like a calm puppy might sleep, wearing a set of green pajamas that went well with her red hair and now revealed fox tails and ears. Apparently she transformed back into her human fox hybrid form in her sleep and Naruto wondered if it was a voluntary change or not. If it wasn't he'd have to work on that before she joined a ninja squad. Putting that thought aside for later, he lightly rubbed her shoulder. Akane-chan, time to wake up. Akane slowly stretched like a kitten might when it's waking up and yawned indiscreetly. With her eyes still closed she sat on her feet and hands like a fox and used her hind leg to scratch behind her ear. Naruto couldn't help but wonder how she could do that in a human-shaped body and decided he needed to add human behavior and habits to the list of things to teach her. After the scratch and some eye-rubbing, Akane looked up at Naruto, still sitting like a fox, and smiled warmly. "Good morning, Otu-san. What are we doing today?" "First, breakfast. Then we're going to one of the training fields for something we need to do." "Okay." Akane went ahead of Naruto and sat down at the table. Looking over the food, she got curious. "Is there any meat to go with it?" "Oh yeah, she must have a carnivore appetite. Better keep that in mind from now on." Naruto thought. "Sorry Akane-chan, I didn't think of that. Next time, I promise." Akane ate the toast and eggs anyway, not enjoying it as much as she would some meat or at least something meat-flavored. Being a demon, she could eat more things than a normal fox could, but she still had a dietary preference similar to the animal. But she didn't complain about it. At least the eggs somewhat satisfied her animal side better than the bread did. The two finished eating and left the apartment, but not before Akane transformed back into a normal human girl. Naruto picked her up, placed her on his back like a piggyback ride, and jumped on rooftops to reach Training Ground 7, the first place he could think of. When there he let her down and did a quick survey of the area with shadow clones to make sure there was nobody there to overhear them. Sensing nobody, he felt better and dispersed them all. "Okay Akane, you've already showed some real ninja potential and even know two of my best jutsus. What we're going to do is see exactly how much you know, so I know what to expect," Naruto explained to her. Akane nodded to show she understood him, looking eager to learn. "Okay, the first thing you showed was my first original jutsu, the sexy jutsu, and the second was my specialty, the shadow clone jutsu. Now, how much do you know about those two?" Akane looked upwards for a second before answering. "The clone one is obviously meant to give someone the advantage of numbers. And the other one is some kind of disabling technique. Am I right?" Naruto nodded. "Basically. Shadow clones let you outnumber your opponent, have great practical uses like handling paperwork, and work great for the substitution jutsu and transformation jutsu." "Shadow clones can be used with other jutsus?" Akane asked, interrupting him. "So what would happen if you combined it with the sexy jutsu, Otu-san?" Naruto smirked. "That gives you my second original jutsu, which I call the harem jutsu. I'm sure you already understand the basics of it, so I won't bother explain it to you. Just so you know, that and the sexy jutsu shouldn't be used carelessly. They're meant to work against perverts, or smut lovers as you might call them. Especially dirty old men or closet perverts. Use it the right way, and they'll either faint from blood loss or be much more convincible, meaning you can make them do nearly anything." "Cool. So that masked smut lover with the evil eye would be a good target?" Akane asked. "Most likely. So what else do you know?" Naruto answered then asked. Akane thought about it long and hard. Nothing comes to mind right away. "I'm thinking of some spinning ball and wind and frogs, but not much else." Naruto nodded. "Looks like she has some vague ideas about my jutsus, but doesn't exactly how to use them unless something inspires her. Well, let's work slowly." He then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small piece of paper that Iruka had given him the other day. "Okay, we'll start off at the beginning. Here's something that I think should be done early, not years later like with me." He handed her the paper. "Put a tiny amount of your chakra into this paper. This will tell us what your elemental specialty is, which will help you later on." Akane nodded and channeled her chakra into the paper. Naruto wasn't sure what to expect, but he was surprised by what did happen. The paper simply changed colors, with various bright neon hues shifting and dancing around like a psychedelic display before turning completely black. After that, nothing. "So what's the answer?" Akane asked, unaware that this meant anything out of the ordinary. I don't know. It wasn't supposed to do that." "Let me see that." Akane handed it back to him and he pocketed it. "I'll ask Bachan or maybe Iruka-sensei about it. That wasn't any reaction I was told about. Is it because of her demonic chakra, or does she have some kind of new element out of the 5 basic ones? Let's worry about that later. For now, show me if you can walk up a tree." Akane looked over at one of the trees and walked up to it. She turned her fingernails and toenails into claws and dug them into the bark. Luckily she was wearing open sandals with no socks, so she could use her feet this way. When she was about 5 feet off the ground she saw Naruto standing beside her head, his body parallel to the ground and nothing visible holding him in place. "How the hell are you doing that? First off, try not to talk like that. Second, I said walk up, not climb up. You use your chakra for this by focusing it at the bottom of your feet to keep a grip. So try again. And be careful, since it's likely you may fall a few times trying to get the hang of it." Akane dropped down and landed on her feet. She tried to step onto the tree with one foot with chakra in her foot, then raised the other foot up. She immediately fell onto her back and groaned. Naruto came down. What did I do wrong, Otu-san? Try to focus your chakra at the bottom of your foot, but to warn you that's the hardest place to do it. Then try to maintain a steady amount there to keep your grip. Too much and you push yourself off the tree, too little and you lose your grip. By the way, this applies to rocks and buildings too and hanging upside down. Also, a running head start gives you some momentum to help you go up. The cane nodded and tried it again, only to fall again and groan. Naruto remembered the time he learned this back at Wave and all the trouble he had to do it right. Letting her learn at her own pace, he sat down and watched her try to climb a tree handless, using her claws rather than a kunai to mark her progress. After about 40 minutes she at least made it halfway up the tree with her chakra, which Naruto felt was sooner than he had been able to do the same. Hey boss. Glad we caught you. A group of voices could be heard from behind Naruto, who turned to see the source. He smirked when he saw Konohamaru, Yuden, and Mogi coming towards him eagerly. The trio of 14-year-old genins regarded Naruto as a sort of second sensei to Ibisu and often asked him for lessons. And Naruto was always willing to comply, feeling it was only decent since most of his own teachers just taught him occasionally. Jiraiya had been the most competent, but sometimes even he needed to be encouraged. So Naruto decided that if he had a student he wouldn't act like he only had to do something if he didn't inconvenience him like Kakashi often did. The cane, after falling yet again but landing with more grace now, turned and saw the newcomers. The only trait all had in common was that they wore their hit-iates on their foreheads. One was a spiky-haired boy who wore a gray outfit and a long blue scarf which trailed behind him like a tail. The other boy had flat brown hair, a dark gray jacket, glasses, and looked half awake with a runny nose. The one girl of the trio had orange hair and 2 gravity-defying points, a purple shirt, black vest, and beige skirt. Akane could see that this group got along with her father, so she didn't worry about them being here. Besides, she felt a familiar sense of companionship with them for some reason. Hey guys, what brings you here? Naruto greeted the 3 genins. We were hoping you could help us work on our Rasengan some more. Konohamaru answered. Rasengan? Akane quietly asked herself, feeling she should know that term. You came to the right place then. Naruto said as he stood up. With Jiraiya dead he was now the only person left who could properly use and teach that technique. Before he left Konoha for his long training trip, he gave his young fans the basic setup for doing it themselves and swore them to secrecy when practicing it. Konohamaru was so far the only one who could actually make a successful one, even though it was small, and he needed a shadow clone like Naruto did. Yuden and Mogi still were having problems, mostly because they also had a hard time doing the shadow clone jutsu too. Show me what you got. Konohamaru made a single shadow clone, his limit for the jutsu, and began working on the spiraling chakra sphere. Yuden and Mogi tried to make a clone first, and they could, but the single one each produced only lasted about 6 seconds before automatically dispelling due to lack of proper chakra amounts and control. They looked at Konohamaru in defeat and awe as he managed to make a softball-sized Rasengan, then got rid of it. Okay, looks like you need to work on size, Konohamaru. You need to build up your chakra levels first for that. Yuden, Mogi, you need to do the same, but I've got an idea for you. Why not have you both work on one together instead of using a clone? See if that works. Naruto suggested. Would that really work? Mogi asked. Naruto shrugged. Not sure. Never tried it myself. Don't see why it shouldn't. Hey, are you teaching her too, boss? Yuden asked, pointing towards behind Naruto. Naruto turned to see Akane with a clone looking like she was trying to create a Rasengan herself. So far all she could create was a red glow between her hands and some sparks of chakra, but nothing else. It was like she was trying to will the technique to work but couldn't quite use the proper methods of chakra control. Naruto was surprised to see this, wondering how long it would take her to fully learn the technique and if he should teach it to her so soon anyway. She's doing better than us, you gotta admit that. Mogi whispered to Yuden, who slowly nodded. Akane stopped what she was doing and got rid of the clone. She then walked up to Naruto. How do you do that one, Otu-san? 3 sets of eyebrows went up at this. That one's a little too advanced for you, Akane-chan. You need to work on tree climbing first before you could handle that kind of technique. Naruto answered. Gotcha. Akane replied before going back to the tree and running up it. Care to explain, boss? Konohamaru asked. She's adopted. Naruto simply stated. Makes sense. Yuden replied. Now, tell me, do any of you guys know the water walking technique yet? Naruto asked, getting back on the subject of their chakra control. All 3 shook their heads. No, let's work on that. Naruto created a clone who led them off to a nearby pond while the original kept an eye on Akane's exercise. Apparently she had his stamina since she kept running and climbing for hours, getting a little higher each time. He had a feeling she would prove to be an interesting student later. Chapter 9. An evening at the Hyuga house. Hinata was training herself early in the afternoon when Hiashi came into the dojo and took a seat by one of the hanging wall scrolls. "Hinata, come sit down here for a moment please." Hinata knew there was something he wanted to ask her. The tone of voice said it all. Since he didn't use the stern tone he possessed when demanding an audience, that meant he didn't require her attention for something, just requested it. Hiashi could sometimes be a difficult man to read if you weren't around him as much as other Hyugas were. Sensing nothing wrong, but still being wary, she obeyed and sat across from him. What is on your mind, Otu-san? "Oh, I've heard something rather interesting this morning, from your cousin. It appears that the Uzumaki boy has gained a child recently. A young girl in fact who's a lot like him." He started. Her reaction showed no outward signs of fear, but rather foreknowledge of the situation. "And I was told you had taken a shine to the child as well. Is that a problem?" Hinata asked with a tiny frown beginning to form. Hiashi shook his head. "Not at all. Why would you think that? Then what exactly are you wanting to know about? You already know the facts from Niji Nai-san, and surely that alone told you how I'm involved, so are you just wanting to hear it from me?" Hiashi was impressed she didn't stutter, and she looked more than ready to fight for her right to be involved in Naruto's life. "Actually, I was wondering what your thoughts on this and your involvement are." Hinata looked mildly surprised. "Well, I plan on helping Naruto-kun because he needs help with caring for her." Hiashi decided to toy with her a bit here. "So you plan on being her mother, is that it?" Hinata blushed and looked away. "Why does everybody ask me that?" "I didn't hear and know," Hiashi replied, making Hinata blush deeper and struggle to come up with some sort of response quickly. "Don't worry about it, daughter. I wasn't being serious. But if I was, then I must say your heart is in the right place." That made Hinata relax. "Why don't you invite her and Naruto-san over tonight?" "Sure, I'll go ask them," Hinata told him. Hiashi nodded and rose. As he walked away he decided to have some more fun with her. "It would be good to get to know my future granddaughter." Hinata couldn't think of a comeback before he left. Deciding to save it for later, she got up and headed out. Before she got to the front door, she ran into Hanabi who was outside practicing with shurikens. "Hi Wani-san. Heading out?" "Yes. I'll be back shortly." Hanabi turned away with a telltale grin. "Say hi to my niece and brother-in-law for me." Hinata rushed out looking like she was going to die of terminal blushing, while Hanabi had the decency to hold off on laughing until she was out of sight. Hinata used her Byakugan to find Naruto and Akane, figuring they weren't at his apartment this time of day. Knowing Naruto, he was either at Ichiraku's, the Hokage tower, or one of the training grounds he used. She first went to Ichiraku's, where he wasn't, then went to the training grounds, since they were closer than the tower. Her Byakugan showed that he was working with Akane and 3 other kids wearing hit-8s, most likely genins. Akane was trying to climb a tree while the others were trying to walk on water. Hinata walked into the clearing where she knew Naruto would notice her. "Hi Naruto-kun. How are you?" "I'm fine. Can't speak for them though," he answered, indicating the others. Hinata looked over at the tree Akane was practicing on. "How long has she been working on this?" "About 2 hours." "Really? I think she's about where I was when I learned that." Akane dropped down and got ready to try again, but noticed Hinata was here. "Hi Hinata-chan, what brings you here?" She didn't know how exactly to refer to the Hyuga girl, so she had to use the way her father did. "Well, my father wanted to invite you both over tonight. He said he wanted to meet Akane-chan." Naruto got wary. Sure, the Hyuga head didn't bear him any hatred, but he feared whatever interest he might have in her. "What for, out of curiosity?" He just said he wanted to get to know her, since I would have to be around her to help you out so much." Hinata replied, decided to leave out the jokes her father and sister had made. No sense on making Naruto and Akane uncomfortable too. "So would you two like to come?" "I don't mind. Could we, Otu-san?" Akane asked. "I guess. I don't think we have any fancy clothes or nothing like that," Naruto said. "I'm sure Otu-san won't mind," Hinata told him. Then she got an idea. "Say Akane-chan, there's something I want to ask you." She then leaned over and whispered into the girl's ear. Naruto couldn't hear anything but was very curious. "Really?" Akane asked when Hinata finished and straightened up. The pale-eyed girl nodded. "Okay then. Is this something I don't want to know?" Naruto asked cautiously. "For now," Hinata answered. The evening came and Hinata led Naruto and Akane towards the Hyuga estate. She was dressed in a black kimono, while Naruto wore the most formal thing he had, a black and dark blue version of his normal attire. Akane wore a dark purple dress that Ino had given her and wore a green ribbon in her hair to give her a low ponytail. She looked rather fidgety and unsure of what to expect. Hinata told her not to be afraid and just be herself. Naruto wondered if that was actually good advice or not. Hinata led them inside where they were greeted right away by Hiashi and Hanabi, both in formal wear, although the former wore white and the latter black. "Hello Otu-san. I brought them here like you asked." Hiashi nodded. "Good to see you again Uzumaki-san. You look like you've been well. And it appears you have a new acquaintance with you." "Thank you Hiashi-sama." Naruto replied, trying to stay respectful around his girlfriend's father. He then tapped Akane to get her to introduce herself. Akane didn't know what to do at first. She barely sensed any familiarity with this man, although his eyes reminded her of Hinata's. For some reason she felt she had to try and get on this man's good side, especially if he knew her father. "Hello, I'm Akane Uzumaki. And nice to meet you." She already sounds like Hinata's child. Both Hiashi and Hanabi thought. They wouldn't say anything like that, since they decided that to be decent and avoid any drama, they wouldn't make any mother references tonight, even in jest. "No need to worry yourself. Just relax. It's not like we're looking for reasons to judge you or anything." Akane tried to think of something positive to say. "Thanks. I like your eyes. Much better than the evil eye that gray-haired smut lover has." "Smut lover?" Hanabi asked. Naruto sighed. "She means Kakashi-sensei. Sorry about that." Hiashi smirked. "She actually calls Haddock that. And she dislikes his Sharingan. I already like this girl." Hanabi stepped forward grinning. "Hi. You can call me Hanabi-Abasan." Akane tilted her head slightly. "Why?" "Just because." "Okay." Akane stretched out the word as she said it, showing she didn't really understand why. Then something caught her nose. "Something smells delicious." "Impressive how she can smell the kitchen from here," Hiashi commented. "She had some relatives similar to the Inuzukas." Hinata explained. "I see. Well, dinner won't be ready for a few more minutes, so why don't you tell us a little about yourself Akane-san?" Hiashi asked as he led them to the main walkway to sit down and converse. Akane looked at Hanabi then at Hiashi. "Is there something specific I should call you?" Hiashi smirked. "How about Jai-san?" Akane arched her eyebrows. "You don't seem old enough for that." "I really like this girl," Hiashi commented to himself. "Still, do you happen to have a better idea?" "That depends. Are you a pervert?" This caught the Hyuga head off guard. "No, of course not." Akane looked at Hinata who smiled and winked. Akane then looked at Hiashi and made a hand sign. She then transformed into her own sexy jutsu form. "You sure about that?" Hiashi fainted from a sudden nosebleed. "Thought so." She then turned back to normal and winked at a still smiling Hinata. Naruto leaned over to his girlfriend. "This is what you whispered to her earlier, wasn't it?" Hinata just nodded. Hanabi saw the whole thing and smirked like a trickster at Akane. "You're good." She then made a hand sign and the 14-year-old Hyuga heiress transformed into a nude smoke-covered woman that looked like Kurenai with royal purple eyes and long wispy light brown hair. "But I'm better." To say that Naruto and Hinata were surprised would be a mother of an understatement. "Where the hell did you learn that?" Hinata actually shouted at her sister. Hanabi, still in the sexy jutsu, shrugged and calmly answered. "From Konohamaru-kun." "Why?" Hiashi began to stir and regain consciousness. Hanabi quickly turned back to normal. "What happened?" "We decided to call you Nosebleed-san." Akane told him, making the rest hold in a chuckle. She saw the look on Hiashi's face and had to hold one in as well. "Just kidding, Jai-san." That made him feel better right away. The branch house member told them that dinner was ready so they all proceeded into the main house dining room. Niji wouldn't be joining them since he had to eat in the branch house dining room. Already seated at the table were some members of the Hyuga clan council, who all looked at least 10 years older than Hiashi did. "Everybody, I would like to introduce our guests. I'm sure you already know of Naruto Uzumaki. Joining him is his newly adopted daughter Akane Uzumaki." "Why would we be interested in meeting her, Hiashi-sama?" one of the older members asked. "Well, do you not wish to be familiar with our allies?" Hiashi asked. "We are fortunate to be allies with Naruto-san, one of the best ninja we have in Konoha nowadays, and I feel it's only appropriate we try to bond with his new family member as well. After all, anyone who chooses to call someone an ally but refuses to acknowledge them until they can be used doesn't deserve any alliance if you ask me." A few members nodded with him, then looked at Akane. "Hello little one. Make yourself comfortable." Akane then sat on an open chair and looked at the food available. On the plate was some pork strips, rice, pickled radishes, and yakisoba noodles. There were water glasses and a side dish of sauce to go with the meal. Akane had already been told not to start eating until the rest did and to eat more like the Hyugas, so she didn't offend them, so she just sat and waited for now. Naruto sat next to her and Hinata sat next to him. Hiashi took a seat at the head of the table and Hanabi sat across from her older sister. Discussion went light for the dining group. Akane would answer whatever question she could, giving the fabricated origin story when she had to, and Naruto would answer when she couldn't. He also had to answer some questions of his own. In both of their cases it was more of a curious questioning than an interrogation, although Akane felt otherwise. She would occasionally ask some questions of her own, like why did their eyes look the way they do and what did they do for a living, and would get answers. After a few hours Naruto and Akane had to leave and go home. They both thanked the Hyugas for inviting them and said goodbye. Feel free to come back anytime if you want, Akane-chan. Hanabi said as they left, liking the girl like her father did. Akane turned and waved with a pleased grin. Thanks for the offer. Bye Abasan, Irojai-san. She then playfully scampered off with Naruto trying to catch her. Both Hyuga heiresses laughed some more at Hiyashi's semi-irritated frown. Chapter 10. First night without Naruto around. A few days went by uneventfully for Naruto. He found out in that time that Akane could already read, swim, and do basic math. She couldn't hit a bull's-eye in target practice or write eligibly yet however. She seemed as smart as a first-year academy student who hadn't been taught history, jutsus, weapons, or chakra exercises. Maybe a little smarter. If she attended the academy when the next term started and wasn't treated like he had, then she would be a decent student at least. Maybe not rookie of the year, but surely not the dead last. One afternoon, as Naruto and Akane were having a ramen eating race at Ichiraku's, they were joined by Iruka. Hey Naruto. I heard you got a daughter recently. This would be her I presume? Yep. Naruto said with his mouth full of noodles, then looked at the girl. Akane, say hi to him. The young girl turned to look at the scarred instructor, not pausing her eating, and instantly felt a friendly, trusting sense of familiarity towards him. Hi. I'm Akane Uzumaki. You friends with Otu-san? Iruka nodded. Yeah, we go way back. I taught the little troublemaker back when he was in school. Maybe I'll be your teacher too. Just don't be as bad as him, okay? Alright, then I'll be worse. Akane playfully replied with a sneaky grin. Naruto gave his former instructor a pitying look. Sorry, sensei. There's no stopping her now. Now it's a challenge for her. First Naruto, then Konohamaru, and now her. Guess bad things do come in threes. Iruka thought. Anyway Naruto, the Hokage wanted me to tell you that she's got a mission for you. One that might cause you to be out of town for several days. Naruto stopped eating, allowing Akane to get ahead of him. Crap. Hinata-chan's out already with her team. I need a sitter for Akane-chan fast. Well, I can cover that part for you if you'd like. It'll let me see what I've got to worry about when she enrolls. Iruka offered. You sure it won't be a problem? Naruto asked. Shouldn't be. Sound okay girl? You say something. Akane asked as she finished off her 12th beef-flavored ramen bowl. Looks like she's got your attention span. Iruka commented. After being informed about the mission by Tsunade, Naruto took Akane back to his apartment and packed up a few things in a pack for her. He also gave her a key so she could come back if she had to for some reason. Then he brought her to Iruka's own modest apartment. You be good you hear? Nothing dangerous or inappropriate. Naruto told her paternally. She nodded. But I can still have fun, right? Naruto shrugged. Of course. Just don't do anything I wouldn't do. Gotcha. Akane nodded. That must mean that if he would do it, then it was okay. Shame he once told her about all the pranks he used to pull one night when she asked how good he was. Have fun. He ruffled her hair and then left with his partners hoping nothing bad would happen. Not to Akane, not to Iruka, and especially to Konoha in general. Akane was sort of unsettled. Due to impressions of Naruto's memories acting as her own, the idea of being alone in Konoha as a young child didn't comfort her. Sure, she was a demon rather than a defenseless human, but she didn't want to reveal that side of her here. The town had a major dislike of fox demons such as herself, and if her identity was revealed any chance of her and her adoptive father having a decent life would be gone like shedded fur. At least the scarred man close by was no threat. If anything he might be a fun target. So Akane-chan, why don't we go get a snack and you can tell me a little about yourself? Iruka offered to treat her to warm up to him and find out how to keep her from being bored. A bored Uzumaki was a dangerous thing. She agreed and Iruka led them to a dango shop, hoping to get her to eat something besides ramen. When they got there he wasn't surprised to see Anko already there munching on the dumplings, no more bandages on her arms now. Akane saw her too and was the first to say anything. Hey, it's the crazy candy thief. Anko's eyebrows arched and she stopped chewing. Oh, it's you. What do you want? Whatever smells so sweet here. She answered, already drooling like a hungry animal. Anko looked to Iruka. You buying her a treat? He nodded and she sighed. Tough break man. She's got quite a sweet tooth on her. Well, Otu-sen says he's surprised you don't have diabetes by now. Akane replied non-hostilely. You should see her when she's pmsing. She won't eat anything that doesn't come with chocolate on it. Iruka wisely chose not to say. Akane turned to Iruka. By the way, what is diabetes anyway? Asked the Hokage that. He told her. He made the order, then sat down on a bench between Anko and Akane. So I take it you two have already met? Yeah. Anko lazily answered before reaching for another stick of dango. Akane reached for it too and both grabbed it at the same time. Anko glared daggers at the girl. You'll get yours in a minute. This one's mine. I'm not afraid of someone who smells like sugar and snakes. Akane replied, not wanting to relinquish the treat. Before Anko could do anything, Iruka gently grabbed Akane's hand and made her let go. Akane-chan, you shouldn't do things like that. What would your father say if he saw you? Akane looked like she needed to think it over. He might say then she suddenly changed into an exact copy of him without using any hand signs. No way. This one's mine. Believe it. She even sounded exactly like him. At first Iruka and Anko were stunned silent, but then neither could stop themselves from laughing. He would say that, wouldn't he? Anko said. Can you do anyone else? Sure. Akane then turned into Anko. Trick or treat. Smell my feet. Give me something good to eat. Iruka and the shop owner laughed harder at this one. Anko wasn't laughing, but she was smiling to show she wasn't offended. Oh, here's a good one. Akane, as Anko said, before grabbing a dango skewer and morphing into a bicky. I'm Scarface. Say hello to my little friend. She held the stick like a kunai. Anko laughed loudly at this one, and even Iruka chuckled. Say, can you do Kakashi Haddock? The shop owner asked as he handed Iruka the treats he paid for. Do? Akane asked, more familiar with her nickname for him than his actual name. Gray hair, black mask, nose in an orange book all the time. Anko described. Smut lover. Akane, now in her normal human form, asked as she bit down on the dango stick. Anko giggled. Smut lover. I gotta remember that one. Can you turn into other things or just people? Iruka curiously asked. Akane chewed and thought it over. Not sure. I know I can do animals too. Really? I'd like to see that. Iruka said. Akane looked away. I'd rather not. Why? Because the animal that's easiest for me, well, I don't think people want to see it. She sadly answered. This piqued the shop owner's interest. Come on, show us something. Nobody's around to judge you. Alright then. Akane then got off her stool and transformed again. In her place was a red fox the size of one of the Inyazuka battle dogs, like Kuromaru. Being careful still, she made sure she only had one tail at the moment. Outside of that, this was her true form, free of all disguises. Interesting choice. Iruka said, thinking she had just randomly picked a fox form. Anko was the only one present who knew the truth and hoped nothing bad would come of this. Everybody. There's a fox demon here. Some civilian passerby screamed from outside the shop, having seen the transformation out of the corner of their eye. Quick, turn into a snake. Anko told the fox, who changed instantly into a brown serpent. Anko summoned some and had them intermingle with her. Several civilians came to the shop entrance. Where'd the fox demon go? The shouter asked. I asked a few pals of mine to drive it off. So it's gone now. Anko told them while pointed at her snakes. It looked like most of the crowd didn't care and just left. A few that didn't trust Anko said that the fox was most likely still close by and went to go look for it themselves. Anko recalled her snakes but told Akane to stay like that and hide in her jacket just in case someone was watching them. After a moment to avoid looking suspicious, she and Iruka paid for their food and walked away. They made it to an alley where Akane slipped out of Anko's jacket and became human again. Thanks, candy thief. I owe you one. She said gratefully. Well then, try calling me something else. Something a little more friendly would be good. The Takebetsu Jounin stated. Akane thought it over. Okay, how about sugar? Why the hell would you want to call me that? Anko asked. And why the hell would she think I would want to be called that? Well, you smell like sugar, so it was either that or snake. Would you prefer that? Neither. Sugar sounds so against my style, and I get enough bad people calling me snake something. How about just Anko? Akit then, Anko-san. The fox girl said. Well, I should probably get going. Let me know if you come up with any more impressions, okay? Anko said as she started walking off. They waved to her and she waved back before disappearing. Iruka let her into his apartment. It was a one-bedroom so she would have to bunk on the couch or something until Naruto came back. She said she didn't mind. The two would play a few card games and apparently Akane was an expert at poker. Probably because she saw Iruka's tongue touch the left side of his upper lip whenever he had a bad hand. Of course if she had any tails visible then she surely would be the one losing. When they finished they watched a comedy on TV and had some popcorn and soda. Naruto, Neji, Tenten and Lee had come to a stop and had already set up camp for themselves. They probably wouldn't reach their destination until tomorrow night at the earliest. Apparently there was some commotion in a distant town that they had been asked to look into. Niji, Tenten, and Lee could most likely handle it on their own, but Tsunade had reason to believe from the reports that Kashu Ryutake, the man whose attack released the Kyuubi, was in the area. That's why Naruto was going along, to positively identify him and if possible obtain the sword so Tsunade could have someone examine its abilities. Whatcha thinking about Naruto? You're being awfully quiet for once. Tenten asked. Just got a lot on my mind. He mumbled. Are you taking to your new responsibilities well? Niji asked. He had heard from Hanabi about Akane's use of the sexy jutsu on Hiashi and still thought it was hilarious. He figured this girl could definitely add some much needed flair to Konoha. I guess. I'm just glad she's not so impulsive or reckless. Naruto answered. Sounds like her flames of youth burn brightly and justly. Lee commented. Well, if you say so Bushabros. And if they burned any hotter she'd have heartburn. Just wait until she becomes a teenager, Naruto. Tenten warned. The Kyuubi going through puberty? Naruto nervously thought. He then pictured Akane screaming about pimples and weight and popularity and other basic adolescent issues. Then he pictured her trying to go out on dates with boys and dealing with the horrors of the female cycle. He inadvertently shuddered. I need a mom for her and fast. When Hinata-chan gets back, I'm going to see if I can get the two to bond on their own. A day out together might do the job. Chapter 11. The foxes hidden in the leaves. The next day Iruka had to go to the academy to handle the end of the term, meaning he needed someone to watch over Akane. Since she got along with Anko he asked if she could do it for a few hours. The problem was finding her, since Anko usually was a fairly private person. Why wouldn't she be, considering that most saw her and thought of Orochimaru the most? Anko was a lot like Naruto in that both wanted to be recognized as themselves, but if they didn't want to be found they couldn't be. Odd considering it shouldn't be that hard to find a boy wearing all orange and a woman with purple hair. In the end, Iruka couldn't find her and had to leave Akane at the Hokage tower to be watched over for the day, then he went to the academy. Now, if Akane was responsible, she would have gone right to Tsunade and Shizune, told them the situation, and awaited the results. Too bad Uzumakis aren't known to be responsible. Neither are fox demons for that matter. Akane waited until Iruka was out of sight and just walked off before anyone noticed she was there. She figured there shouldn't be any problems if she tried spending some time alone for once. After all, her father had done that for many years and survived. And he was a human. She was a powerful Bijuu with most of Naruto's imprinted memories. Surely she could handle any trouble that might come along. Besides, she had a strong desire to have some Naruto-esque fun, and that was always better when there were no supervisors around. Now the hard part was thinking of what to do. If she got lucky she might find some stray paint cans lying around. Naruto had left her some ryo to use if she needed to, and she wondered what to do with it after some Ichiraku ramen. Not hungry at the moment, she just walked through Konoha, looking around and hoping to find some kids to hang out with. Most weren't out at the moment as they were at school, so she eventually ended up at one of the parks. This one had no playground, it was more of a nature center. The scent and sounds of the forested area made her feel really comfortable and at home. To pass the time, she decided to see if she could find a way to bring some of these scents to Naruto's apartment. While she walked down the stone pathway she ended up running into Ino who was looking over some flowers. Ino saw her out of the corner of her eyes and turned to greet the young girl. Good morning Akane-chan. What brings you here? Good morning, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. Pig-san is all that comes to mind. And I'm looking for things that smell good. The name's Ino. And if you want flowers or something you came to the right person. Anything in particular you want? Akane didn't respond right away. How about? I don't know. Just whatever smells good I guess. Then to toy with the ponytailed girl she added another question. Know any flowers that smell like ramen? Ino didn't know whether she should fault or groan. That's it. You need some feminine guidance. Stick close to me and learn a little. For the next hour Ino tried to educate Akane on flowers and scented herbs. Akane found she preferred the scents of jasmine, roses and cinnamon, while she greatly disliked mint. She said some rather vulgar things regarding the aroma and Ino scolded her on her use of such language. She also scolded the young girl for trying to drink right out of a small pond that had fish, frogs, and ducks swimming in it. While she was there, but before Ino noticed, Akane made an interesting discovery. She found a white fox vixen with gray-tipped ears, feet and tail. It had been trying to get a drink too and kept a curious eye on her from a distance. Akane smiled at seeing a fox nearby and reached out to pet it. It backed away, quietly growling stranger in canine speak at her. No threat. Akane told it back in canine speak. Human village my territory. You're an intruder. Why are you here? Akane asked. Akane-chan. What are you doing? Ino asked as she brought the girl a small water bottle to drink from. Just noticed this cute little fox and I wanted a closer look. She answered. Ino took a longer look at the fox. Something's not right. A normal fox shouldn't be wide in this environment. Ignoring it for now, she turned back to Akane. Say Akane, did Naruto leave you a house key? She nodded. Good. What do you say we go there and give the place a woman's touch? After all, you wouldn't want to live in a place that reeks of too much testosterone, do you? Is that what that smell was? Akane asked, not realizing Ino was joking. I thought it was dirty laundry or something. After a long snicker, Ino led Akane out of the park and back towards Naruto's place. While they were walking, Akane noticed that the white fox was tailing them with about 2 meters distance between them. She stopped walking but signaled for the fox to come closer, which it cautiously did. How many tails do you have? It bluntly asked her. Akane looked intrigued. You can tell I'm a fox demon. Your scent is clear. I'm a one-tail. What are you? I have 9 tails. Why? The white fox almost face-faulted. 9. That is impossible. Believe it. I'll prove it later in private. Akane-chan, why are you growling? Ino asked, having to backtrack a bit to rejoin the girl who had stopped walking. Just answering a question. Ino looked confused. You mean, you were talking to that fox? Yeah. Weren't you already told I could? Ino then remembered hearing from Naruto that Akane had some connection to an Inuzuka-like clan. Oh yeah. Must have slipped my mind for a moment. With that, they kept walking, and the white fox kept trailing them, but now kept closer. They got to the apartment quickly, and Akane opened the door to the apartment. When they walked inside, Akane sniffed the place. Sorry Ino-san, but I still say that's dirty laundry, not disturbative. Well, you'd be surprised how much they smell alike. Ino replied comically. You'll know for sure someday when you have a husband. Akane gave the Yamanaka a confused glance. Do you have a husband already? Is that why you know so much? Ino just blushed and looked away. By the way, just what is a husband? Does it stink? Ino nearly wet herself from laughing at that comment. Teammate was hurrying towards Konoha as quickly as they could, but still taking the long way to avoid being followed. They had something important to tell the Hokage, and if they kept at this pace, they should be able to do so next morning. Ino had really gotten into fixing up Naruto's apartment to make it more homely for Akane. The fox girl wasn't exactly sure what the problem was. After all, the place was cleaner than a den dug in the ground, so why did it have to be cleaner? Better smelling was a plus, but that was all Akane was really concerned about. Ino covered that by putting the dirty clothes Naruto had neglected into the washer and gotten to some of the dishes. All the while Akane sat down and watched, petting the white fox that had nestled comfortably on her lap now. However, she had to leave for a brief time to go get her vacuum, as Naruto's needed repairs. When she left, the white fox jumped off Akane's lap and faced her. Show me your true form. It demanded, revealing it could speak the human language as well as the vulpine one. Akane stood up and transformed without hand signs. In her place was a large red fox the size of a small lion with 9 swaying tails. So you do in fact have 9 tails. Is that a problem? There's only one fox demon in existence that has 9 tails. Surely you know this. The white fox demon stated. The red fox shook her head. Sorry. I don't know anything about fox demons outside myself. You're the first one I've seen. I must admit I'm surprised since I was told they aren't welcome here. Then what are you doing here? I'm living with Otu-san. What are you doing here? And what's your name? Mine's Akane if you didn't already catch it. Akane responded. I'm called Sasa. I've lived here all my life because my mother was killed here when our ruler Kyuubi-sama was forced to attack here. I haven't been able to leave for some reason and I've wondered if Kyuubi-sama would get released. Akasen was pretty close to her. The white fox, Sasa answered. Akane's ears twitched momentarily. Kyuubi. Otu-san said that was what I used to be called. Any connection? Possibly. We'll have to wait until another fox demon comes around until we can confirm anything. Sasa told her. The doorbell rang, surprising them both. Akane turned back into a red-haired human girl wearing a red shirt and dark blue shorts and answered the door. Standing before her was a young girl her age with long black hair tied in a low ponytail. For some reason she wore a male kimono that was black with icy blue swirls on her shoulders, black boots with similar swirls on the top of each foot, and an icy blue obi which held a black sheathed sword on her left hip. The most distinguishing feature of all were the red fang marks on her cheeks. A husky puppy was standing at her right and made a small bark. Akane smiled to be friendly. Hello. Can I help you? A quick sniff of the new girl made her think of Kiba. The new girl spoke quietly and looked down, rubbing her knuckles together. Have you seen a small white fox anywhere? You mean Sasa? Akane asked. The new girl looked up hopefully. You saw her? You know her name? Sure. She told me. Akane said without realizing she probably shouldn't have. What? Sasa-chan told you? She never speaks to anyone outside the pack. She then noticed the puppy go inside the apartment. Mino-chan. She looked over Akane's shoulder and saw her husky next to the white fox. Sasa-chan. I take it you're out for the day, Shiba-sama, am I right? Sasa asked. Akane-sama, allow me to introduce my partner, Shiba Inuzuka-sama. Inuzuka? Are you related to Kiba Aji-san? Akane asked. The girl, now identified as Shiba, looked away slightly. Yeah. He's my cousin. You know him? Yep. He's okay. Probably could use a tick bath or something, but not bad. I heard somebody say he should be neutered, whatever that means. Akane answered nonchalantly. Sasa snickered a bit at hearing that. Were you at the academy? So are you a ninja now? Shiba looked down at her feet now. Not yet. I've still got several terms to go before that happens. Not that anybody believes I can do it. Akane blinked twice in confusion. Why is that? Idritherna talk about it. Shiba quickly muttered. I just came here to find Sasa-chan. I should really get going. Can I see you later then? Akane asked. I'd like to spend some time with some kids rather than a bunch of Otu-san's friends for once. Please. Shiba looked up and blinked several times. You actually want to spend time with me? Akane tilted her head. Why does that sound like it's rare for you? Yes, I'd like to spend some time with you and your animal friends. Is that okay? Shiba slowly nodded after a longer than normal wait. Sure. I would like that. Akane gave a foxy grin like Naruto. Great. Meet me at Ichiraku's ramen in the morning. See you then. Shiba later left after a polite parting, taking both Sasa and her puppy Mino with her. She was really curious about why some girl she had never seen before suddenly wanted to be nice to her. Almost be friends even. It was surprising, to her at least. But not as surprising as the fact that the Redeed smelled almost entirely like a fox. Credit for the creation of the characters Shiba, Sasa and Mino mostly goes to Narnia Moons. They will play a good part in this story later on. Chapter 12. Trouble and Friendships Brewing. Himade entered Hokage Tower and went right to Tsunade's room. Instead of Tsunade, they saw Shizune, since Tsunade was attending some personal business at the moment as Shizune explained. So while they waited for her to finish, they relaxed and took a breather. Shizune immediately noticed how worn out they looked, as if they hadn't stopped moving swiftly in hours. Tsunade came in, noticed the three shinobi with an arched eyebrow, and sat down at her desk. So what happened while you were out? Shino had become their unofficial representative when informing the Hokage over the years, so he was the one to answer. It turned out that the threat was a false alarm. Just speculation and paranoia. However, we did see two men with a Sharingan hide outside the city limits. Hinata's Byakugan and my insects confirmed this. Both sported the Sharingan. And one was in fact Sasuke Uchiha. The other wore an orange spiral mask with only the right eye visible. If Tsunade had been drunk, this surely would have sobered her up. You didn't engage either in combat, did you? Of course not. Only Naruto would be that stupid. We figured the best thing to do was tell you. Kiba answered, ignoring the brief glare Hinata sent him. Crap. Tsunade mumbled as she rested her chin on her clasped hands. Taunton made a nervous oink in Shizune's arms, who kept a concerned eye on her mentor. Good job, teammate. Go rest up and don't return here any earlier than tomorrow morning if you can help it. Dismissed. Oh, and Hinata. Shizune added before the Hyuga heiress could leave the room. Naruto's out of the village for a few days. Akane-chan's been with Iruka Yamino since then if you wanted to know. Thank you. Hinata politely said before leaving. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Tsunade asked her student. On which topic? The Uchihas or Hinata? Shizune asked. Before the Hokage could reply, she shrugged. Ah hell, the answer's the same for both. Yes. Now let's just hope Naruto's willing to do his part and do it the right way. Tsunade commented. Regarding? Shizune asked. Both. Tsunade stated. Akane was seated at Ichiraku's, but she wasn't eating. Tucci and Am asked if she was hungry, but the young girl said she shouldn't eat before the girl she invited showed up. Just a little show of courtesy that Ino taught her the other day. So she passed the time chatting with the ramen vendors, mostly talking about Naruto when he was younger. Really? Otu-san didn't always use water in water balloons. What did he use then? Akane asked. Paint, whiteout, tomato juice, old milk, and I think he tried urine once on a really nasty carpenter that threw a hammer at him when he was 7. Tucci casually replied with a small grin on his lips. It's amazing he never used ramen broth. After all, he had more of that than water. Am commented. Yeah, but that would have been a waste of his favorite food. Tucci added. So what else did he do that he didn't tell me? Akane eagerly asked. Her tails would have been wagging if she had them out. Looking for ideas? Am playfully asked. No comment. Akane answered, saying what Naruto told her to say if she didn't want to answer something. I'll take that as a yes. Am added. Well, did he tell you about the time he gave the Akimichis laxatives? Or the Nara's pep pills? Akane nodded with a grin. Okay, how about the time he superglued a rainbow afro wig on the Inyazuka boy just before school? Akane nodded again with a light snicker at the mental image. When he made the Hokages on the monument look like drag queens. What's a drag queen? Akane asked. Both ramen vendors wondered how to expect that concept to an 8-year-old. It's a boy who pretends to be a girl all the time. Akane tilted her head and narrowed in her eyes. So does the sexy jutsu make Otu-san a drag queen, then? No. Not all. Both ramen chefs immediately stated, all but shouting. He would have to do that all the time for it to count. Akane simply nodded in understanding. Pretty soon Shiba Inyazuka, the girl Akane had met yesterday, showed up with her husky puppy and white fox partners. Akane smiled. Hi Shiba-chan. Glad you could make it. She didn't verbally reply. What's wrong Shiba-chan? Cat got your tongue? I'm just not much for conversation, is all. She told him. She reminds me of someone, but I'm not sure who. Wonder why. Akane thought. Don't worry about it. Just say whatever comes to you. That's what Otu-san does. Not exactly the best example to use, Akane-chan. Tucci commented. Now that your friend's here, want some ramen? Want some? It tastes great. Akane asked Shiba. No thanks. We ate before we left. Thank you though. She answered. Okay then, so is there somewhere specific you like to go to? Akane asked. Somewhere private. I don't feel comfortable around crowds. Shiba was still unsure why this strange girl who hadn't even been in school was interested in being with her, but she did want some human companionship, so she didn't argue. Alright. I know just the place. Akane said with a smirk, then led them away from the ramen shop. Naruto and Team 9 had reached their destination and already gotten to work. The head ruler of the town had informed them that some unidentified person, possibly more than one, had been trying to steal a life-size statue of a heroic historical ninja carved from one ruby and soon succeeded. Whether or not the ruby had been made naturally or by some crystal element jutsu was still debatable, but either way it was one valuable monument. What really got to the ruler was a ransom scroll the thief had sent him. This is what it said. If you want it back, you will have Konoha-nin bring 2 million ryo to the map location. Failure to do so by the end of the week will result in the destruction of the statue. And to prove I'm not bluffing, look at this. Attached was one of the fingers of the statue, broken off but unmistakable, next to a map that led to an open plateau. Think this is the guy Hokage-sama warned you about, Naruto? Lee asked as they headed for the designated place. Either way, he's gonna be in trouble. The orange-clad ninja answered. He gave us the finger. We can't ignore that insult. Everybody groaned. Come on, that was a good one. They soon came to a stop on top of the plateau and looked around. Niji placed down a box holding the money. Okay, you've got what you demanded. Now honor your end of the bargain. Of course he and the rest were fully prepared for the other party not to. That was apparently a good idea, as something came flying at them right away. Akane led Shiba and her animal companions to the top of the Hokage monument, stopping on top of the fourth's head. Wow. What a view. Shiba exclaimed as she looked over Konoha. Isn't it something? Otu-san took me up here a few days ago. He said this is his favorite place to go. I can see why. If it was night I'd be tempted to howl. Shiba said, sounding the most relaxed Akane had ever heard from her. Feeling better, huh? Not so gloomy anymore? She commented casually. Shiba didn't respond, but she looked a little less enthusiastic now. Why are you like that anyway? I've seen 2 Inyazukas already and both were 100 times more feral than you. I've got some problems with the elders of my clan. The Inyazuka girl answered, rubbing her knuckles together nervously and keeping her back to Akane. They have standards I don't meet. Akane sat down on the ledge and motioned for Shiba to do the same, which she did with her puppy Mino on her left side and her fox Asa on her right. There was about a meter's distance between the two girls, with Akane at Shiba's right. It looked like the latter wasn't going to say anything more, but then her fox partner nudged her. Shiba-sama, she'll understand. You can tell her what's troubling you. Why you sure? Sasa nodded. Yes. This girl has a bond with foxes so I can sense she means well. Shiba settled but then looked at Akane. The Inyazuka clan elders consider me a disappointment because I can't do their jutsus well. Even though I've got 2 partners and can do kinjutsu well, they don't like the rest of my skills. So they tell me I can never be a good ninja and may make me astray because of it. And that makes you feel like you're not worth anything, doesn't it? Akane added. She might be basically an 8-year-old in body and mind now, but as the Kyuubi she had been around for a long time. So occasionally some wisdom, insight, and maturity uncharacteristic for someone her age would slip out, even without her realizing it. Sort of. Shiba asked. I do have a skill that would make them change their minds, but I'd rather they not know it. At least not yet. Shiba told the Uzumaki girl. I see. Bet it's a great one that'll make them sorry for doubting you. Akane commented confidently. Shiba gave her a confused look. You know, I kinda expected you to ask what it was. Akane laid back and looked at the clouds. I admit I am curious, but I'm not gonna make you tell me. I've got a big secret myself I'd rather no one else know. After a moment, she got an idea. Hey, wanna spar? For fun? Know any jutsus? Some Otu-san taught me. I think some pervy old guy taught me too, but I can't be sure. My memory's been kind of hazy since some guy with a sword hit me. Who's your Otu-san? Shiba curiously asked, scratching an itch behind Mino's ear. Akane smiled. His name is Naruto Uzumaki, the next Hokage. Believe it. Shiba gasped then jumped right up. Your father is the Naruto Uzumaki. The man who saved us all from pain and the treacherous substitute Hokage. You've heard of him? Akane asked, surprised since this was the loudest this girl had been so far. Everyone has. He's the best ninja we have in this town. And you're gonna be able to learn everything he knows and be as strong as him someday. You're so lucky. I'd lease myself to a cat for that chance. I can get it for you if you really want it. Akane said. Shiba blinked several times and looked like she believed this was some sort of genjutsu. Really? Why? Because it means so much to you and I'd like you to prove those stupid elders wrong. Akane answered kindly, then stood up. So what do you say about that spar? Shiba had some small tears in her eyes. Thank you so much Akane-chan. A chance to train with my idol. Hell yeah. Even Hana-sensei would be proud of that opportunity. Shiba admired Naruto like how Tenten admired Tsunade. She was as excited about this chance as Konohamaru and his pals had been when they got it. And you're on. She added, taking on a fighting stance. Wait. What about these two? Akane asked, pointing her thumb at Sasa and Mino. Shiba looked at them both. You guys mind staying out of this one? Both barked no. Okay then. Maybe next time you'll join in. She turned back to Akane. Ready? Do you think we should let them know we're here? Hinata asked Kiba as both hid in the trees, watching the two girls duke it out playfully. She had used her Byakugan to track the girl when Iruka told her she had left his apartment in the morning to meet someone. No way. I haven't seen Shiba-chan this fired up ever. Hanani-san would be proud. Kiba replied. Let's let my cousin and your daughter enjoy themselves for a bit. Hinata blushed but wasn't that embarrassed by her teammate's remark. Sure. Sounds like a good idea. Chapter 13. An eventful day for both Naruto and Hinata. A group of Konoha shinobi ducked as something flew over their heads, dangerously low. When they stood upright again, they saw it was coming back at them. Niji got in front of the unidentified object and did a rotation, stopping it and making it fall on the ground. Naruto saw it was the boomerang sword that had cut his seal. Suddenly the handle had a soft yellow glow and the whole weapon glided across the dirt towards where it came from. They looked and saw Kashu Ryutake, formerly of Kiri's 7 swordsmen, whose chakra glowing hand caught the sword. Nice. Some Konoha bodies to carve. Don't expect to dodge again. Kashu stated before getting ready to throw his weapon again. Naruto and the others tried moving into a better defensive position but found they could barely walk. All four looked down and saw that their feet were being held down by strands of sky blue hair coming up from out of the ground. Lee was strong enough to tear it away from his ankles and Tenten used a kunai to cut it away from her. Niji meanwhile couldn't use his gentle fist against something without chakra points and Naruto tried to rip it off the hard way. Kashu threw his sword at them expecting a perfect hit. Lee jumped at it and hit it dead center from above with a kick, making it impale in the soil. More hair burst out of the ground dislodging the blade and trying to impale Lee. He dodged, but it managed to wrap itself around him and hold him in place. The same thing almost happened to Tenten, but she cut away with a sword. When it tried again, she slipped on some discarded hair and fell off the plateau. Kashu retrieved his weapon but didn't throw it at anyone. Instead he just smirked at seeing his prey tied up. Now which one to kill first? He scanned them over and rested his eyes on Naruto. Hey, didn't I already fight you? You got away alive. Okay then, you're first. Naruto then created 20 shadow clones and had them attack the swordsman. His sword cut through 4 of them right away, but the rest ambushed him and did an Uzumaki barrage. Before he fell, Kashu threw his sword at the still tied up Naruto, making a lethal hit. A sudden poof of smoke revealed it to be a shadow clone Naruto had done a substitution with. Without his weapon at the moment, the real Naruto fought Kashu, while 2 clones worked at cutting Niji and Lee free of the strange hair. Tenten used 2 sickles to get a hold on the wall of the plateau, then curiously looked to see just how far the drop down was from where she hung. It was about 50 meters and she noticed a small alcove with a young boy with sky blue hair sitting down with his hands making a strange hand sign. It looked like he was praying, but his fingers forked at the middle and ring fingers on both hands. His hair was digging into the earth behind him, so Tenten knew that this was the source of the hair. She dropped down onto the ledge, startling the boy. At that moment the hair holding the others slacked. "Please do hurt me. It's not my choice to do this," he pleaded. "Then why are you doing it?" the Kunoichi asked. A long time ago in Kiri, someone discovered a way to cure baldness. Anyone who took the medicine would never have to worry about going bald. The problem was that the hair never stopped growing and it grew too quickly, especially when someone used their chakra. Soon users would either be crushed by the weight of too much hair or they would starve to death since the hair takes so much nutrition from the body. My clan however could withstand the strain on our bodies, so we became the only ones to use the medicine. The boy started to explain. We even found ways to put our chakra into our hair and use it in combat. It's like we have an extra arm or something. And we found a way to seal the effects so the hair grows at a much slower rate. The boy then showed her a small red ribbon with ink on one side. When I wear this, my hair grows normally. But everyone in my family was killed but me and Ryutake is the only person left who knows how to make this seal if something happens to this one. I don't like working for him, but if I don't then I'll have to cut my hair 5 times a day just to stay alive. Can I see that for a moment? Tenten asked. The boy tensed up. Kid, if I was going to do something bad wouldn't I have just taken it? I know a few things about seals so I'm curious about this. The boy then reluctantly handed it to her. She took a look at the design and chakra networking, then snorted. Kid, this is a basic seal, not too different than the ones I use with my weapons. There are plenty of people who could make this for you. The blue-haired boy looked amazed. Ryutake isn't the only one. I don't have to follow him anymore. Exactly. The boy suddenly hugged her. Thank you. Sorry for the attack. I'll release your friends now. He then made the dragon, tiger, bird, and dog signs, then finished with the forked prayer sign. Ninja art. Hair dragon jutsu. Back on top of the plateau, Naruto and his clones were brawling with Kashu Ryutake. Niji and Lee had gotten free and were ganging up on him too. Kashu used his sword to block about half of their hits and get rid of Naruto's clones as best he could. He thought things were looking bad for him until he saw all the hair rise again looking ready to strike. Ha. Now you're in for it. It then molded together to look like a fierce dragon, making Kashu smirk. It lunged, but it passed everyone and caught the swordsman in its mouth. What the hell? Noburo, what are you doing? The dragon then bit down on him and apparently it hurt worse than it sounded. The dragon then dropped Kashu, who landed in a mash of hair that wrapped around him tightly, turning him into some sort of furball mummy. He wasn't going anywhere. That was odd. Niji stated. Then he went to go check on Tenten, feeling very relieved to see her well and unharmed. A few moments later everyone was introduced to the young boy named Noburo Sentaka. Tenten cut his hair to a reasonable length and helped him put his seal ribbon around his scalp. They heard his story and felt bad he had been tricked into working for a killjoy. They checked him over due to protocol and found all he had on him was a scroll containing various tools his family used, designed to work with their family style of combat. Such tools included poisonous shampoo, acidic conditioner, and cement-like mousse, along with normal hair care products too and various dyes. There also was a sword that looked like half of a pair of scissors and some ordinary smoke bombs. The shinobi group took Kashu Ryutake to the fire daimyo to go to trial after returning what he stole to the rightful owner. Noburo was spared mostly since he was considered an unwilling accessory, but he still had to have something done regarding him. Since he came from a ninja clan, the daimyo told the 4 Konoha ninja to take him to Konoha and have the Hokage decide what to do regarding him. They agreed and thanked the daimyo, then asked to take Kashu's sword back with them in regards to Tsunade's orders. It was allowed, and the 4 went home bringing along someone extra, not sure what was going to be done about him. Hours after Akane and Shiba had finished their little playful spar, she and Hinata were out walking. The Hyuga heiress and Kiba had made themselves known to the young girls after they finished and congratulated both on their skills. Kiba was especially glad since he heard that Shiba was barely any good at what she did. His sister Hana, Shiba's tutor, said otherwise, but this was the first he had actually seen her talents. The young Inyazuka girl blushed and lightly grinned at the praise. After a while the 2 Inyazukas left for home. So now Hinata was watching over the Kyuubi girl by spending some quality time together. At the moment they were swimming at a secluded lake after they got Akane a swimsuit and Hinata had to go get her own. Akane wore a bright red one-piece suit while Hinata wore a black bikini, the only one she had. Normally she was too shy to wear anything but a one-piece, but with just Akane here, there was no real problem. Hinata tried teaching Akane how to swim while they were there. Akane could apparently already do dog paddle style by instinct, but no other way. Hinata tried to show her the broad stroke, which Akane could do for a few motions, but always reverted back to dog paddling without even trying. So instead she decided to just let the fox girl have fun in the water and join her. A splash fight was inevitable. To relax and build up a tan, the two eventually floated on their backs in the water. It was very peaceful. "This is nice, isn't it, Hinata-chan?" Akane asked. "Yes. Very." The Hyuga girl answered, secretly wishing the girl next to her would call her Aka-san instead. "Hey, Hinata-chan, I've been wondering something." Akane asked, a slight tone of uncertainty in her voice. "About what, Akane-chan?" Hinata asked, turning her head a little to look at her better. "It's stupid, but I can't help but wonder, do you think I might look more like you when I'm older? Or like me?" "How?" Hinata asked. Akane blushed and looked away. "Never mind. It's nothing." Hinata stopped floating on her back and swam to face the young girl. "Come on, tell me. Or would you rather ask your father?" Akane blushed. "You know, would my body be more like yours?" Now Hinata was blushing too. "Akane-chan, I'm not sure. Maybe, maybe not." Akane looked up at the sky. "I sure hope so. I sure don't want to look like the cotton candy head in the future." Speak of the devil, for about 20 seconds later Sakura came into view wearing a pink robe. Akane sat up in the water and looked her over. "You look like a Pepto-Bismol bottle right now." Sakura was really irritated at hearing that. "Don't you have any manners at all?" "Wait, why am I asking that? You've got Naruto as a role model." It was a shame that for her insulting Naruto was such an old habit. Hinata and Akane narrowed their eyes at her. "Naruto-kun is a terrific role model for her, Sakura-san. The best she could ask for. Don't judge him so quickly." Sakura sighed. "You're right. Sorry, you too." "Wow, Hinata-chan. You just tamed the pink panther." Akane playfully commented, making Sakura's eyebrows twitch in annoyance. Ignoring it, she took off her robe, revealing a green bikini and dipped into the water. Akane looked at her wide-eyed. "Wow. Your chest is even flatter than I thought before. Now I really hope I look more like Hinata-chan when I'm your age." That set Sakura off, making her swing her arm out to intimidate the young girl. She planned on missing so she could scare the girl into being more respectful. However, Akane didn't know that, so she dodged and bit the Haruno girl on her arm hard. Sakura screamed, then instinctively swung her other fist and hit the young girl in the face before she realized what she was doing. Akane was thrown back to the other side of the lake. "Akane-chan." Hinata shouted, feeling a rush of what she felt was maternal concern for the girl, and swam to the girl. Sakura was shocked. "Oh crap." She swam to check on the girl too. If anyone heard about this, she would be in so much trouble it wasn't funny. Hinata pulled the girl into a hug and soothed her. Sakura tapped her cheeks lightly. "Hey. You okay?" Akane's eyes slightly opened, just enough to see a lot of pink. Acting of instinct, she pounced out of Hinata's arms and started scratching Sakura's face like she had done to Kakashi some time ago. Sakura yelled and swam away as fast as she could. Akane calmed down and Hinata had her rest in her arms. "Akane-chan, you and I need to have a talk about how to act around people." She started it. Akane defended herself. "She started the hitting. You started the trash talk. Be nice and apologize to her." Hinata told her, even though deep down she was immensely proud of the girl for defending herself. Hinata led Akane back towards Sakura, who had washed any blood of her face and was applying healing jutsus to the cuts. "I'm sorry, Sakura-san. I shouldn't have said those things to you." Sakura shrugged. "Alright, apology accepted. And I'm sorry for hitting you." "Thanks." Akane said. "Now, what do you say you, me and your mom forget it and have some fun?" Sakura asked, making Hinata blush like that always did. Akane tilted her head. "Who do you mean?" "Hinata-chan, silly girl. Who else would be your mother if Naruto is your father?" Sakura replied. Akane turned to briefly look at the Hyuga heiress. "Well, Otu-san does favor her. And if she is my mother, then maybe I will look more like her when I'm older. Maybe she'll mate him then sooner or later." "What kind of fun did you have in mind?" After a lot of splashing, diving, racing, and overall aquatic goofing off, the three girls had their fill, dried off and headed home. Akane had to go back to Iruka's for the night but hugged Hinata before they parted. "Good night, Akane-chan." "Good night, Aka-san," she whispered. Nothing could remove Hinata's grin from her face that night, not even a crowbar. What if Naruto turns into a nine-tailed fox kid? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.